sure the audio's on. My mouse is going crazy because I'm in that presenter mode, so I can't get it back to me. Let's jump forward. I don't know, do we have 5 of them? They're all for you. What have we got? Oh, I have one. You guys want this over there?
Oh, I got one.
All right.
You might, one coming to.
Yeah, one. Okay. Okay. This is a special meeting of the Grantsville City Council. It's a special work session being held on Friday, May 1st, 2026, in person at 429 East Main Street in Grantsville, Utah, and electronically by Zoom. And it is beginning at 3:25 p.m. Because this is a special training meeting, there will not be any public comments or actions taken during this council meeting. We will start today with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would please rise. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, our first agenda item tonight, number 1, is a training of roles and responsibilities by the legal department. So we will have our city attorney present that for us. Thank you, Tyson.
Right. Good afternoon. Tyson Barker, city attorney. I'm excited to be here to talk to you about some of the roles and responsibilities of leadership in the city and in municipal governance as a whole. Now, the title of my slideshow here is the Effective Municipal Leadership, a Guide to Leadership in Grantsville. When we think about effective leadership in the business world, you know, many of you maybe just came from work. We're trying to inspire employees to work better, provide better work product. Effective municipal leadership in this context is going to be, how do we manage risks and how do we show leadership in a city by staying within the guardrails of the law? And that will ultimately circle back to, are we staying within our statutorily prescribed roles, and are we doing things that we're authorized to do by law? And if we're authorized to do it by law, that's great. If we're not, then we're starting to step out onto some limbs, and then we need to proceed cautiously in those avenues. And so my hope today is that we'll have some good discussion. Feel free to stop me at any time if you have questions, and then we'll go over some things. Hopefully we can be of some value today to get you some good information and maybe have some fun and some good conversation while we're at it. Let me go to the next slide. So there's really kind of 3 forms of government under the Utah Code. We've got there's the 5-member council. That's the traditional council. So anytime there's a new city that's formed in Utah, that's the default, is the 5-member council. That's what every city starts out as, and it takes an act of council to change that. Here in Grantsville, we are that middle category there. We have the 6-member council, with the 6th member being the mayor. Under Utah Code 10 3B 103, up there off to the left, that's a section of code that you can go under and find all of the different rules that relate to the different forms of government. There are different rules that apply for the different forms. So let's see, so they. Yeah, let's go to the next slide. So we've done some evolution here as a city. Back in 2021, November 2021, the city council passed an ordinance creating the city manager position, which is a statutory position, and that is sort of and really, we went back and reviewed the minutes of those meetings and those discussions and those work sessions that were going on at the time. Most of what was discussed was, look, we've got Mayor Marshall who's about to leave. And he's been here for, I believe, 3 terms at that point. So 12 years of continuity of government that's been going on strong for a long time. Lots of knowledge was housed inside of his mind, and it was about to be in some ways lost, and you can write down as much as you can, but there's a lot that's going to be lost when you move on. And part of what council's concern at that time was that we want to have continuity of government. And that was kind of their primary focus there. There was also a lot of discussion about professional management. Those 2 things were sort of the thrust of what brought that forth. So in November of 2021, we passed ordinance 2021-32A. And that was the first time that the city had a manager. So Jesse Wilson was the city's first city manager, and now we have Michael Rizera, the city's second city manager. There's the value of the continuity of government is expressed in state code as well. It's clear that when a new administration comes in, there's fresh ideas, but there's a lot of things that should be held on to that have been lost by way of just the natural attrition of things. So we've had that great evolution as a city. We took that step to move many of those administrative roles out of the mayor's hands and move it to a city manager, so that the city has a professionally managed CEO in charge of things. Yeah, I don't have much more to add on that. Anyone have questions about that form and how that took place and what happened there? We can move on to that next slide.
No, I think we got a full dose of at least
We did get a full dose of
at least
that.
4 of us and plus Derek. I mean, he was somewhat involved.
We kind of rehashed that whole thing recently too.
Yeah,
I think
we did.
the whole discussion got brought back up, at the end of Mayor Critchlow's time. So there's some allocation of authority, and under the strong mayor form, which is what the mayor was prior to a manager being there, where the mayor was more in charge of the day-to-day activities of the city, was over the department heads, was more involved in the all of the day-to-day administrative activities. So there's some of the different things there. There's in the 5-member council, the mayor holds a veto power. Our code specifically says that the mayor does not hold a veto power. We have a specific section of code that addresses that. We have the city manager that runs the day-to-day activities. All employees report to the city manager. There are no direct reports of city employees to any of the city council. Those are all, so if there are some employment type issues, the proper channel to address those would be city manager, who then finds the right person to answer the question or to take the administrative action with respect to that employee. The city manager is, that is a position that that's appointed by the mayor with the advice and consent of city council, as with all other department heads. Move on to the next slide. So the mayor is the presiding officer. These are the duties of the mayor. She's the presiding officer of Grantsville City. There's specific statutory duties and powers involved. The mayor is the chair of the council meetings, presides over all city council sessions, prepares the written agenda, maintains order, and guides procedural conduct. So if there's ever a question of what is the proper procedure in this event, we turn to the mayor, and the mayor makes the call on what is proper. Of course, you can always seek the advice and an opinion of others, but that's ultimately the call is the mayor's call in a meeting. The statutory chief executive serves as the official head of the city government while delegating administrative duties to the city manager. Under 264, we address that the mayor has no veto power. Ceremonial representation, acts as the public face of Grantsville City at official functions. Let's go to the next slide. Well, the city council is the Grantsville's legislative body. There's exclusive authority over key governmental functions. Under 211 of our city code, it states the legislative and executive powers of the city shall be exercised by its governing body, which may be referred to as, quote, city council, which shall be composed of 6 members, one of whom shall be the mayor, and the remaining 5 are referred to as members of the city council. Are there, just a little pop quiz, are there any instances in which the mayor may vote?
Tie.
In a tie and city manager, right? Yep. That's the, also the mayor is required to vote if there's
Something that impacts
something that impacts the mayor's
the
power.
mayor's power.
Yes. You're in charge of land use legislation, legislative decisions. You're also the appeal authority for many of those land use decisions that are administratively made. That's typically our process. If it doesn't go to the Board of Adjustment, the appeal authority is the city council. From time to time, we do have hearings on appeals for revocations of conditional use permits. Some of you have been part of those. Those are evidentiary hearings, and so they're more formal type hearings where you put people under oath and they give testimony. You have the exclusive power to pass ordinances. Our code, if you've looked at it, I'm sure you have, there's a section of code for just about every position in the city. If you look for the city council section, there isn't one.
Oh.
We actually don't have a section called city council under our city code. We then would defer to the state code. which is, that's probably the safest way to do it, is to say, well, we're going to grant the city council with all the rights and privileges that the state of Utah does under the 6-member form of council. I move to the next slide.
Sorry.
This is the city manager. The city manager serves as the chief administrative officer, bridging policy decisions with daily operations, execute laws, implement ordinances and resolutions passed by council, and they're also in charge of contract administration. As part of contract administration, city manager signs all contracts and leases that are involved, that the city is involved in. Not every contract, not every lease comes before you. Only the ones with major legislative impact will be brought before you. There's as part of management of the day-to-day activities of and operations of the city, some of those things are handled administratively under his purview. It's an appointed position. Council has oversight over the position of city manager. In charge of personnel management, staffing decisions, allocation of resources within City Hall, and fixtures of city facilities. Grievances, they're the source for referral if someone has a grievance. There's, I don't want to be in Michael's inbox just to see what he gets all of the good. Man, I'm sure it's just this litany of things. I mean, I'll bet you get 500 emails a day. I can't even imagine. I know I get a whole bunch, and I'm not on everything. I think he's on just about everything. Budgeting, he supervises the preparation of the administration of the city budget. He's the financial steward for the city. The city manager has an advisory and a representative role, or a policy advisor, to advise the city council on policy options and implementation procedures. At council's request, he furnishes written reports to city council as requested or required in order for you to be most fully informed of the decisions that you're asked to make. Let's move to the next slide. This is so the city attorney, the legal guardrail. We have to make decisions as a city. There's no way around it. We cannot delegate our duty to make decisions. And sometimes those decisions, there's risk of whichever way you decide to do it. My role is to try and mitigate risk and try to inform you of the risk. One question that I had, this is my first position as a city attorney. Right? I've never represented a government in this capacity before. And it makes you wonder, who is my client? Who do I represent? Am I the mayor's attorney? Am I your attorney? It's kind of a difficult thing to parse out. Do I represent all of the employees of the public works? Do I represent the state of Utah when I'm prosecuting? There's a lot of different hats that I could wear, but when it comes to an organization, I represent the organization as a whole. And so I have to make sure that I'm acting in the best interest of the entire organization. So that's a unique hat that I get to wear, and it's kind of interesting that the city attorney has a role of being a prosecutor for city offenses and for municipal or for misdemeanors and infractions, because as a prosecutor, you wear the white hat, which means that you have a different role. You're not trying to win. What you're trying to do is do the right thing. And so you have obligations to defendants, you have obligations to the court, you have obligations to the city, of course, and to victims. But you don't necessarily represent any of those victims, right? You've got to represent justice and what is right. That is the same vein in which you have to, on the civil side of things, when I'm thinking about my job on this side of things, I have to represent the organization as a whole. And that just means looking to do the right thing. And sometimes that can put you in a bit of a conflict with individuals. Say, for example, someone wants to do something that is illegal or improper as part of their leadership role. They come to me in confidence, and if that were to have been explained to me, well, is it part of the city operation? Then there's something called attorney-client privilege, and that's a very sacred privilege that the attorneys can't breach. But at some point you have to say, well, is that person my client or is the city my client? And because the city's my client, those two things might be at odds. And my obligation would be to take the higher road to make right what has been proposed to be wrong, or at least to shine a light on, to advise against proceeding in that manner. Attorney-client privilege is an important privilege. It's one of the highest forms of privilege that exists under the law. So things that are said between a client and an attorney are required to be kept confidential on the attorney side of things. So I cannot share confidential information that was shared with me as far as city business goes. There can be a breach of that, though. That's I'm obligated to uphold my side of that privilege, but the privilege belongs to the client. So the client could waive that privilege, and they might do it on accident. We're going to talk about that here in a minute, how that could play out. But I represent prior administrations. I represent the interest of the city and as it goes forward to future administrations, as well as this current administration. And so there's lots of things that could be at odds of what's best for the city. And it's not a policy decision, right? It's a risk management decision. I'm not a policy maker in any way. What I do is look for how can I legally protect the corporate interest of Grantsville City, and that is my role to do as the city attorney, and to do it within the rules of professional conduct, managing risks. I guess one question I've got for you is why is a municipal prosecutor important? Why not just delegate these things to the county or contract it out and someone could phone it in remotely? I guess, does anyone have any opinions on why a local prosecutor, local justice court is?
Well, a lot of cities do contract their prosecution out. I used to do that different, but having somebody, I think, in-house is a lot better than your officers. If they have questions, they can have, I don't know. I think it's better.
I agree with that. Yeah, we have lots of quick communication with officers.
Yeah,
That's
they need,
important.
yeah.
Not just officers, I mean, as I'm here on a daily basis, everybody's, oh, well, let's just ask Tyson. I mean, it's a constant flow of ask Tyson.
As far as the
very
prosecution
important.
goes, there's these crimes that happen in Grantsville that I prosecute are not homicides and rapes, right? These are class B misdemeanors, class C misdemeanors, but they're crimes of quality of life. These are things that impact your neighbors, right? You probably don't have a neighbor that's a mass killer, but you might have a neighbor that gets drunk and throws beer cans in the road, or, you know, makes a mess of their yard, or parks where they're not supposed to, or steals from the grocery store. Having someone locally involved in that, I think, makes the quality of life for residents in Grantsville elevated. Looking out for safe driving, looking out for violations of traffic code, and keeping things safe in that regard can be helpful for the city. So I do believe in local prosecution and the impact that can have. Moving on to the next slide. So we talked about the city corporate client, but on the next one down, no unilateral waiver. That's what we're talking about when we come to the attorney-client privilege. A single council member can waive attorney-client privilege on their own. Disclosure by one member risks waiving privilege for the entire body, creating litigation vulnerability for all. So there are some things that if discussed in the confidence with your attorney, with the city's attorney, if someone were to go and share that information, breach that confidentiality, suddenly that becomes discoverable. It's no longer a protected communication because you've allowed voluntarily someone else to be involved in that conversation. That can happen through social media, it can happen through family, and or it can happen by any communications that we want to keep private as part of that confidential nature. It's a very important confidentiality duty between the attorney and client that's easily breached by one person who can go forward. As an entire city, if we wanted to waive some form of privilege, it would actually take an act of city council to do that. You have to have the majority members say, okay, look, we know this is a protected communication, but as a council, we believe that we should waive that confidentiality, that privilege. So that to do it intentionally would be an act of city council if it were to be done properly. But to do it inadvertently would be very easy. It would just take one person with a quick text or a quick post. One thing to protect against that, a little bit of advice would be perhaps consider, instead of saying our attorney says XYZ, rather than that say the law says X, Y, and Z. So you have an understanding of the law, why the attorney advised this, but you're not disclosing that you've had a confidential discussion with your attorney by saying our attorney says this, and then the thing that was confidentially spoken. Because if that's the case, then there's been a breach, a waiver. One of the things that I do, it's kind of interesting. As a city attorney, it's one of the most diverse practices that you can have. I heard a city attorney say it's a 1 inch deep, mile wide practice where you got to just kind of know a little bit about everything. There are some times when it's not 1 inch deep though. There's times where it's miles deep. And in those circumstances, I have to know what I don't know. And so subject matter experts, there are specialist attorneys that we have good relationships with that I help to continue to foster. We reach out to them in situations like water law that can be complicated, or bonding, PIDs, things like that. That takes some subject matter experts that practice in this daily to be able to best represent the city. Most of the time, the 1 inch deep is enough to field the general questions, but we do have that from time to time where we need to reach out and contract with a subject matter expert. Moving on to the next one. So there's, what risks might occur from the use of social media? Anyone have any ideas? As an elected official, are there any risks? Jake, you're nodding your head.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
Yeah,
Anything you put in written format is just as if you were saying it in a public forum. So it's, yeah.
I like to use the word public forum there.
Yeah.
That's a term of art that is being explored very carefully with social media right now. So it's on someone's private page. So it's not the Grantsville City Facebook page, it's the Jake Thomas Facebook page, right? We've got, but you're saying, hey, I'm Representative, Councilmember Jake Thomas, here's an announcement from the city. The risk involved there is, well, say someone doesn't agree with you and they start getting in your comments and you say, well, hey, let me block this person. I don't want to hear from them anymore. Well, you just block them from what is a quasi-public forum at that point because you're an elected official. You've started talking about city business and now you're shutting down free speech. And so the courts have not gone all the way to the edge on that yet, but they're close. We're not far off from that public forum finding where we could have a First Amendment censorship issue.
I have a clarification, maybe a
Yeah.
question on that. What is the difference between like a Facebook page of an individual who's in a public setting or a Facebook page that's created that is, like for instance, when I was running for city council, I have a city council page. And I also have a personal page, right? So on the city council page, I put activities that are going down, you know, there's no discussion on that page. It's just, hey, these are things that are happening. Is there a difference in the law between the two, or are they one and the same?
There is a difference between the two. So one is more uniformly a public forum, and that would be like the official page of the Grantsville Fire Department, the official page of the Grantsville City. Jake Thomas's for City Council, that's probably a little bit lower degree than those official pages, but if you're using it for exclusively official business to make announcements about what's going on in the city, keep people informed, that's probably very close to what would be considered an official public forum. And so that's the thing to be careful of there is that, you know, where if we're looking at it as a public forum, it's sort of like an open meeting.
Right.
You know, we
Follow the same requirements.
Yeah. Public comments are you know, sometimes offensive, sometimes we have our own rules here. We can shut things down if they fall outside the scope of those rules. But and with our official page, we have rules and policies in place. But where a personal page, we probably haven't posted anything like, I will not tolerate this, and these types of things, or will get you banned or blocked. Cities take great care to make sure that they have those policies in place so that when someone does step out of line in the comments or things become absurd, that they can say, well, that's not relevant. You're not talking about city business. We can block you from that conversation. But that probably doesn't exist for those. And you know, I'm not trying to say like, hey, don't post on your own pages. You know, it's me and my First Amendment right, and I've got my own agenda that I want to promote, and I want to, you know, make sure that I'm saying the things that I want to say, and you can't stop me from saying what I want to say, and I can't. Right? I'm just the guy with the white hat trying to do the right thing and say the right thing, to say what's best for the city, for people in the past, people in the future, the continuity of the city. You know, it's an absolute honor to serve you as the, you know, here in the flesh, the will of the people, the city council. That's why you're here, right? And so effectively communicating with the people is an important part of what we do as well. So not trying to stop anyone from saying what they want to say online, but it's there's some things to be cautious about for sure.
Could I just say one thing about that? I think we saw a good example of that somewhat, just a few months ago when, you know, a lot of excitement behind the USA hockey team winning the gold medal, right? And then afterwards you had our FBI director, you know, really active on social media in those regards regarding all that and afterwards and it just, that got turned into a bad light for him and for the administration. And so you can see how that can turn pretty quick. While the intention behind it was nothing but good at celebrating what they had just accomplished, but the flip of that happened pretty quick. And that is so evident in our society today, how quick that can change from something that apparently was good and then all of a sudden is like, oh, well, maybe you shouldn't have done that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you're right, your privacy as an individual on council is totally different than it was before you got on council.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, I mean, I knew that going into this, right? I think a lot of us did. That, you know, that kind of went out the window by winning that election. Yep. So.
I have a question. I mean, I'm the newest one. So like so now people are saying stuff about the city or about city council that's not true or inaccurate. And like, do we just, I don't know. I'm just very, I don't know the rules. I don't want to post something about the city that's not true. And I don't like, I mean, usually I try and get the information so I know the correct information, but I don't know. I guess maybe I'm asking just in general for training. Like, what do you guys do? Do we like just more respond to emails? Like I don't usually post on Facebook anyways, like even my own personal page. But I just don't know, like, I want to get the information out there that's accurate. So I don't know. I guess that my question is maybe more of the councils. What you guys have been on longer, like, do we just address it more publicly? And when we're at a public meeting, is that the better way?
Well, I think from my perspective, I've kind of steered clear of the social media aspect of it and just tried my best to address things in a public forum in this meeting and individually at times, depending upon the situation, via email. Individuals have reached out, and I think they deserve, for the most part, you know, some sort of response from at least one of us. So typically, when I respond to someone, I respond to them directly. I don't copy the rest of the council because I feel like, from my perspective, I don't want to sway anyone else on the council from thinking that, oh, well, this is what Councilman Butler thinks, right? In this regards. So anyhow.
Yeah,
That's
that's how I'm new, so I'm like, and my understanding is we're not supposed to copy everybody because that would be.
Yeah,
poor. I'm gonna be all.
Even though it's sent to us directly, yeah, replying back all, I think that's a mistake. So that's why I've just.
Well, sometimes I get emails too that I don't know answers to. So I'm like, hey, I need to go find out these answers before I respond. So yeah.
I'd be concerned about accuracy. It's really important, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's.
Well, and I know we can't control everything. That's why I'm like, I understand that. I just like at my role as city council, I want to like, cause I want to inform the public if I can. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do that.
That's just from a representation. My obligations as the city attorney is to I would look at it and say, well, is it if council member Skinner wants to disparage a past administration on her personal Facebook, I would say, well, from a legal perspective, you have every right to say what you want to say online, but from a risk management perspective, from a what's best for the corporate entity of Grantsville City, it would be to not cast in negative light any former official and any of their actions, just because that that you're causing alarm, drawing conclusions, giving opportunity for other people to draw conclusions, inviting other disparagement to come on. And so all of that is, that goes down the wrong side of how we would want to use social media if we're looking at this from what's the best thing that we can do for the city as far as keeping us legally safe, making sure that our decisions are defensible. And because should this council pass something and then in a couple of years, some future council says, well, what they did, those guys were a bunch of dummies and they should have done what they did, and that the things that they passed were wrong. Well, that all that's going to do is cause someone to go back and say, well, let's find a way to unwind what's been done as a city. And is that good for the city moving forward? Is it good to have to try and defend things that we shouldn't have to defend? That's as the attorney, I would say no. But that's, you are your own individuals. You're here for a reason. You are the will of the people. You've been elected to be where you're at, and there's a balance to be struck. I guess is the important takeaway. Is that while there's a political career on one side of things, and then a risk management for the continuity of the city on the other side of things. And there's a balance. If you have any questions about something, or if you're worried that something might not be accurate, I'd always be more than happy to take a question.
So Tyson, this is a funny question. My wife's sweet, but I've asked it, is there any liability? Like, I've been scared of how to handle questions on social media, but I might have a family member that wants to kick some trash, and defend us. How do you, I usually just talk them off the ledge, the family member, and say, just let it ride. But is there any liability if they do that unbeknownst to a council member? Not just a wife, kids, husband, mom and dad, they want to defend you.
I think the liability, would probably mostly in that context be if they're talking about things that were not put in the public realm, the things that would have been privileged material that would indicate that privileged material has been discussed in the home and has gone outside of the attorney-client relationship. Then that would be the liability there, is that the waiver could be exposed at that point to say, well, that privilege no longer exists in this context.
But excluding that, have at.
Well, not advisable, right? I would say pull back, I strive to wear my white hat as much as possible, right? To say like I'm not going to be above the noise of whatever the small percentage is. And I think that Bill, our community development director, at one of our last meetings did a good job of accurately saying, like, even if you're reaching out on social media and you almost go viral for what Grantsville's page can be, maybe get 80 comments, which is huge. That's such a small percentage of the population of Grantsville that it isn't really a representation at all in any way. It's within the margin of error of what any sort of statistical standard would be. So you're talking to a very small but loud minority. Not to say that their opinions are unimportant, because they are.
Yeah,
very important. But it's may not be worth the breath, I guess.
Right.
Effort. Now let's go on to the next slide. So there's a statutory split between the administrative and legislative land use decisions that you'll make. Your role is going to largely be policy making, rezones, zone changes, general plan amendments, things that are legislative in nature. You have wide latitude as to the rationale that you use for your legislative decisions. When it is a legislative decision, it's almost always defensible, as long as it isn't arbitrary, capricious, or illegal. So those are the things to stay away from. It shouldn't be just because, right? It should have a reason for the things that we do. But that reason could, it could just be reasonably related to a city benefit. So long as you're looking to do what's right for the city, then you're probably making the right decision regardless of how you do it. It's a legislative decision, and if what's on your mind is doing something that's right for the city, then you're not going to be in the arbitrary and capricious or the illegal realm. Just think about that. Is this was I considering this for the best interest of the city? And the other thing to think about a little bit there too is, have we had a very similar situation come up before, and we decided to do something opposite of what we're doing now? Because if that's the case, then we need to be more consistent in our application of the law. And so that's the other caution there, but that would be illegal. If we were to say, rezone on this lot is allowed, rezone right next door for the exact same purpose with no change in circumstances, then we would have an issue there, and that would be illegal. So yeah, high discretion on these policy decisions. All the administrative type things, those are very rigid. We have specific rules. The conditional use permits, we've gone over this many times, but we have to approve them unless there is a detrimental impact that can be substantially mitigated by reasonable conditions. So those are the administrative type decisions. We'll do our very best to always clarify you're wearing your legislative hat, you're wearing your administrative hat when you're making a decision. And if in doubt, support it with evidence in the record. That's, if you feel, well, this could be one or the other, support it with evidence in the record, whatever decision you make. Let's move on to the next. So this is the governmental trust is our insurance provider when it comes to things. So all of the liability insurance we have, all of the, we go through the Utah Local Governmental Trust. It's a great organization. They do an excellent job. They provide trainings. They provide free legal advice. They're always there. They answer the phone every time you call them. It's pretty nice. They are very responsive because they share liability with us, because we pay them, and they will pay out if we make our wrong choices. So they are very interested in making sure that we make good choices. So they are more than willing to talk to us on our decision making, give us some opinions on how to direct our efforts. But there are some things that are not covered by the governmental trust. They won't cover things that are land use decisions because of the incredible impact and damages that can derive from those decisions. If we were to make an illegal land use decision, just the consequential damages from that type of civil suit on a large scale development could be tens and tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. And so they're not willing to take on that type of risk because while we have a wonderful council, a wonderful planning commission right now, who knows what's going to happen in the future? We don't know who those people will occupy those chairs in the future. And if some radical ideas come out and radical things get done that are outside of the guardrails, we could end up with some large judgments. Cities go bankrupt because these things are more or less uninsurable, because these are just catastrophic damages can occur from those. The other things that are not covered are gross negligence, willful misconduct. Some violations of the OPMA, regulatory takings claims, and ethics violations. So those are mostly related to like bad actors, right? So if you got a bad actor who's intentionally doing wrong, those are hard. We do have criminal liability insurance for our officials, but yeah, that's what I wanted to hammer home on that as far as the trust goes is that they are a great organization. If you're looking for some training, you can go to their website. They have great training videos on there. They have messages of the day that they send out. They also don't cover land use. So anytime you're doing land use stuff, just think, well, we're not covered here. I'm driving an uninsured motor vehicle here.
The big one is the employment law and decisions for equal opportunity employment is what they really do. And we talk to them quite a bit about staffing issues and things that they provide that advice for free.
Absolutely, yeah. The employment law stuff, and that's somewhere where we would probably subject matter experts are critical there, but they do offer pretty regular advice if you need stuff from them, which is very nice. They're not doing it for free. We pay that, but it's
Provided services.
yes.
So once again, just going over that list, it was gross negligence, Open Public Meetings Act. It was
Intentional illegal acts.
Land use.
and
Ethics violations.
ethics violation, which bribery, right?
Yes.
But I've always wanted someone to give us advice on, we had 2 prior councilmen get sued individually for a land use decision. Which none of us want that to happen. So what can we do is there anything we can do to protect ourselves against that?
Well, we can't really protect against getting sued because you can sue anybody for just about anything, you know, and it's.
And that's the world that we live in.
We want to be able to defend what decision we made. And so if there's a problem of whether we've applied the law in an equal way or whether we've stepped outside of our own municipal code or land use code, those are the areas where we run into trouble, or if we're going against the state law. And so if we're doing our earnest best to try and make the right decision, I think that even still sometimes you can step in it, but or you can catch a lawsuit for just about anything. But what I would suggest is support the decisions you make with the rationale of why you're making the decision. And if that's I'm doing it just because, well, it's arbitrary and capricious. But if you're doing it because you want to see Main Street developed in this way, or you want to see beautification in that way, or you think that this is a safer way to do things, those are all reasons that if it's a legislative decision, those will hold up all day. But if it's the same reason that you gave for something else and you said no to that one, and they sit and they're similarly situated, then there's an equal application of the law there.
So we're better off to, if we vote no, just to get it in the public record, explain ourselves, voting no because of this.
Yes.
Or here's why I'm personally voting no, yay or nay. Yeah.
Yeah, and if it's something that's gone through the planning commission, we have a staff report, you could note the staff report, lean on that. Say, I agree with the planning commission's decision to deny, or I support their rationale for approval. For the reasons stated in the report, I agree with this. Those are the things that would at least show to anyone listening to the record later on, this is where I can go find the reasons why. it's very hard to remember the reasons why
Right.
in a deposition in 2 years.
Right.
You know, it's difficult. Next slide. So, this is my final kind of ish slide here. But I just wanted to right there as we continue down this retreat, let's recommit to the principles that guide effective municipal governance by honoring our statutory roles and maintaining procedural integrity. We serve Grantsville's residents with excellence. Everyone wears a different hat in the city, and we do our best to understand what our role is and to magnify that in a way that represents the city well. And I'll always do my best to try and keep you within those guardrails. I'm not an authority. I can't tell you not to vote away. I can't tell you to silence yourself. But hopefully, I've earned some credibility, and when those types of things come up, I can at least give you that advice. And I hope that you'll listen to it, because what I'm concerned with is not any individual decision. What I'm concerned about is my client, and that's a wide reach. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Tyson, I
Thanks.
have a question. Sorry. This is just kind of a random question. So like, say you're on Facebook and you're buying something like, or donating something. This was a weird question I was talking to Heidi about when I first came on, because I didn't think about it until after I became on council. I'm like, I don't look like I'm buying anybody. Like, hey, I'm donating to your, that doesn't cause a problem, right? If it's just buying or like donating to a person, like, hey, I'm doing a fundraiser or something. We don't have any duties to report that as a conflict of interest of any way to the city.
No, if it's part of your campaign funds, then yes, you gotta do your
Yeah, if somebody's
financial
donating to
reporting.
that would be a conflict of interest, but.
Yeah, so the conflict of interest is kind of a tough thing. Really, it's not as rigid as what many people think it is. Even if someone is deriving a financial benefit from something, it may even be enough just to disclose that exists, right? Because particularly at your level of being some elected officials, you are what you are, and the people elected you, and that's so your job is known, your associations are likely known, this is not a money-making endeavor. I don't think anyone's here to get rich on these things, but if there is ever a financial piece where you stand to benefit from a decision that you're making, the critical piece is to disclose that, because you don't want to go back in time and try to justify why you still voted for something that you were deriving a financial benefit from. The safest way to go forward is to bring it up before the vote, and then we'll have a discussion about whether it's appropriate to continue on in the vote. But as far as making donations, I don't think there's much to be concerned with there, unless it's a quid pro quo situation.
I just like, once I became council, then I guess double thinking, everything. I just don't want to do anything. It's not okay.
Anything
Thank
further?
you.
No,
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tyson.
Very well done.
Yes. All right. Our next agenda item is number 2, training of roles and responsibilities of the city recorder and Open Public Meetings Act training.
I am trying to get this done. Hold on. It's gonna be hard because I have to take my laptop up here, but I need to get it on here too, so hold on.
You need 5 minutes?
Do you? Yes,
Yes,
I
let's
would
just
love
take a
5
5-minute break.
minutes.
But a strict 5-minute break.
Yes,
That would be perfect.
4.5.
Thank you.
4:29. Or whatever.
Alicia's
Okay.
first.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
just gonna
quiz.
say, Alicia's gonna throw a pop quiz on us on a Friday afternoon.
ABC, true or false. That's all we're gonna handle.
D, none of the above. So, yeah. It's just, yeah, it's all in place and everything. All you have to do is just click. Okay, just click. Okay. So I am going to talk to you about council essentials. I'm gonna try and discuss a little bit of water rights, not too many, but the recorder roles and responsibilities, and then pop quiz. Today really is helping you, I just want to note this, really, it's about helping you avoid the most common issues that we see, which most of which are completely avoidable, right? So anyway, we're gonna go into water credits really quick. Gonna go over rights, whoops,
Sorry, got excited.
wow. Rights, credits, banking, assigning, and dedicating. So you guys probably already know this, but we're just gonna kind of go over it again, but water rights are exactly what they sound like. they are the legal rights to use water. So these are governed by the state of Utah, and they define how much water can be used and under what conditions. What's important to understand is that water rights and water credits are not the same thing. The water rights are the legal foundation, where credits are how we track and apply them. So you don't really need to be an expert on water in order to understand the difference between the water rights and credits. You just kind of need to understand how it affects your decisions. Go ahead. This is our Grantsville City Water Bank.
Yeah, it's amazing. That was-
So banking water, the rights can be banked with Grantsville City. When someone wants to bank their water rights, they just need to file an application with the city recorder. And then I will send it to our water attorney, Jeff Gittens, and he will go through and verify that those rights are actually usable water within Grantsville City. They don't have any liens against them and things like that, you know, because it is property, right? So once he gives me the okay, which can take a few months, I go ahead and document those credits on a spreadsheet with the owner and water right number and the change application number, which is provided by the state engineer after the water rights have been turned to credits. So, and also how many credits they have banked. So, go ahead. So this is how our water banking works. I set up this ledger that's on the left there. As you can kind of see it, I made it small on purpose, but I just put us and I put the developer or seller, assigner, whoever, and then I can go back and forth on who is dedicating and assigning what credits and how many to who. Go ahead.
So go
So
back.
go ahead. Back.
Anytime a developer assigns water to a development, they would assign it to that area and then we finally dedicate it to that project. And then once they dedicate it, they don't have it anymore. It's officially then the city.
Grantsville cities. Yep. So, and I'm gonna go over that.
Okay.
So thanks for bringing that up. But yes, those two sheets are how you assign and how the owner would assign and dedicate water. And those have to come to me as well. So I've put this false scenario up here that, so let's just say that High Noon Holdings comes in, and these are all fake companies, okay? High Noon Holdings comes in and they bank 200 credits with us. So that's their balance. And then they sell some, that's the assignment, they sell some to Dusty Spur for 150 credits. And so their balance is now 50. And then they come in and say Broken Saddle, they sold some to them, 30 of them to them, so now their balance is 20. And then they sold 20 to Coyote Creek, now their balance is 0. And then they sold it to Last Chance Outfitters, and now they're negative 50, right? So if that ever happens, which, you know, it won't, but anyway, this is a reason that we need to be super accurate in our records on this and make sure that everything that actually exists, right? I've been working really closely with our water attorney in order to, you know, make sure that we have everything, do a complete and full audit of our water credits, and take a deeper look at how they're tracked and, you know, make sure everything's good. What we have found is that there are different ways to track these, and I'm working to align our records with the approach that Jeff recommends. So, and like I said, I'm conducting a full audit of our water credits and the ledgers to ensure that everything is fully documented. And that way, when decisions are made, we are making them from, you know, defensible and accurate information. So I know it's been a big topic recently in Grantsville City, and understandably so, but this is exactly why we have those tracking and those verification
Alicia, if
Yes.
this situation were to happen, who would be responsible for the -50?
It would actually be the person that sold the 50. You know, so, and that we do leave back, I don't get in the middle of transactions like that. I need to have those papers, those assignments and those dedications. But if I don't have that paper, it's not, I can't defend anybody, so.
So High Noon would either need to come up with 50 or they would need to refund that money, that transaction to Last Chance Outfitters.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yep.
What would happen if they sold all these and they're, you know, it hasn't been realized that that they're 50 in the negative, and Last Chance was the last chance, has the last chance to use them, but let's say they use theirs before Coyote Creek, and then Coyote Creek now can't put them on a project. I mean, that's just something you just stay completely out of.
Actually, so what would happen is if Coyote Creek would technically be the last one, because once I assigned those and they were at 0, those would be my papers that I have. And so, the assignment of water credits paper, and so I would know on my ledgers that it would be at 0.
Okay,
And then if somebody else came in with another assignment of credits for this, or this Last Chance Outfitters came in with another 50, then I would say, sorry, you know, you need to go back to whoever sold these to you. Because these weren't.
And we do
So it's-
encourage people to reach out to verify
Yeah.
the credits and
100%. Yep. So anytime they're, yeah, exactly what he said. So, but this is a good example of why tracking and documentation matter in all of this, not just for water, but across everything that we do, which is going to bring me to my next topic. Go ahead. Governance. Go ahead and click. So, city recorders. Nobody really knows what we do until we don't do it.
Gotcha.
Go ahead. So, city recorders are responsible for meetings, ordinances and resolutions, city records, notices, elections, compliance, annexations, pretty much we're a catch-all. A lot of stuff goes through through us. We have to keep those records, and we're in the city's business. That's what we do. So go ahead. So we're gonna go ahead and do our required annual Open and Public Meetings Act training, because this is required, and every year. And so, and this one is the state's training. So it kind of goes really fast. I did not do the video, okay, don't give me credit there. But anyway, it goes really fast. It is 9 minutes long, but you're gonna want to pay attention because
Quiz
you
at
know,
the end. We get it.
it is part of your
We're back
training.
in school.
So, go ahead. And then this, oh, did it not show up? Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's okay. Did it, oh, there, it's like, it's kind of weird. You might have to go out of presenter training or like presenter view. Oh, hold on. See if you can, it should be a link. Yeah, go right there. It should just start right up, hopefully. Hopefully there's sound. Hold on. Oh, it's muted. Oh. This was the one thing I didn't get to check before. Maybe it's because I'm muted on this. It goes really fast.
Are you guys getting all this?
Yeah.
Yep.
What? That's all we got, what?
So sorry. This one sec. Oops. Husband, I need a new computer.
Yeah,
There we go. Okay.
Local government, not state requirements.
I'm not gonna say her for my.
So what is the Open and Public Meetings Act? It's the state law that ensures government actions and deliberations are openly conducted. Before we continue, keep in mind that this video is an overview and exceptions may exist based on your end type. We focus on local government, not state requirements. When in doubt, read the law and consult with your legal counsel. So what's considered an open and public meeting? It's when a public body quorum discuss or act upon government business. It includes the meetings sometimes referred to as workshops or executive sessions. Regular meetings, public hearings, electronic meetings, and emergency meetings are all open and public meetings. Open and public meetings don't include chats or social meetings. A public hearing is a type of open and public meeting where citizens have a reasonable opportunity to speak. Public hearings happen when a government adopts a budget, imposes or increases taxes or fees, or transfers money from an enterprise fund. These meetings have extra notice and posting requirements and won't be addressed in this video. An electronic meeting is a type of open and public meeting that's convened electronically, such as via phone or the internet. Remember, the governing body must adopt a resolution, rule, or ordinance allowing and governing electronic meetings. OPMA adds additional requirements too. An emergency meeting may be held to discuss an urgent matter due to unforeseen circumstances. In order to hold the meeting, the best notice that's feasible is provided of the time, location, and topics to be considered. An attempt is made to contact all governing body members, and the governing body majority approves the meeting. An open and public meeting may be closed to discuss any of the following: a person's character, competence, or health, collective bargaining, litigation, certain real property transactions, including any form of a water right or water shares with specific restrictions, security personnel, devices, or systems deployment, investigations of criminal misconduct, and private or protected information for the Utah Procurement Code, including trade secrets. A closed meeting may be held only if a quorum is present and the meeting was properly noticed. 2/3 of the governing body present at the meeting need to vote yes to close the meeting. Quick math lesson. 2 divided by 3 equals 66.7%. Let's say your governing body has 5 members present at the meeting. If 3 out of 5 members vote yes, that equals 60%, which is not equal or greater than 66.7%, which means you're 1 member short and would need 4 out of 5 members to vote yes. During this closed meeting, a governing body can't interview someone applying to fill an elected position, discuss filling a midterm vacancy or temporary absence, discuss the character, competence, or health of the person whose name was submitted for consideration to fill a midterm vacancy or temporary absence, approve any ordinance, resolution, rule, regulation, contract, or appointment, or take a vote, unless it's a vote on a motion to end the closed portion of the meeting and return to an open meeting. When a governing body closes a meeting, the following must be publicly announced and entered into the minutes of the open meeting in which the closed meeting was approved. The reason or reasons for holding the closed meeting, the location where the closed meeting will be held, and the vote of each member of the governing body either for or against the motion to close the meeting. If a closed meeting is discussing a person's character, competence, or health, or security personnel, devices, or system deployment, or several other exceptions, mostly related to state bodies or project entities, no recording or minutes are required. However, the presiding member needs to sign a sworn written statement stating such. If the closed meeting is held for any other reason, a recording must be made, which includes date, time, and place of the meeting, names of members present and absent, and names of all others, except where disclosure would infringe on the confidentiality necessary to fulfill the original purpose of closing the meeting. Regular open and public meetings require 24 hours notice. The public notice includes the meeting, agenda, date, time, and place. Public meeting agendas need to include reasonably specified topics to be considered, with each topic listed under a separate agenda item on the meeting agenda. The governing body may not consider a topic in an open meeting that wasn't on the agenda. If a new topic not on the agenda is raised by the public during an open meeting, the governing body may discuss the topic. However, final action may not be taken on the topic during that meeting. Additionally, entities holding regular meetings scheduled in advance over the course of the year need to provide annual notice of the entire year's meeting schedule. The notice must include date, time, and place for each meeting. Notice is posted on the public body's website in public locations such as the location where the meeting will be held, and on Utah's public notice website in accordance with Utah Code 63G-30-102. Typically, posting on the public notice website is done by the records officer, recorder, or clerk. However, it's the governing body's responsibility to ensure notice is provided. State Archives has prepared a training manual with guide for owners and posters, as well as training videos that can be accessed at their website, archives.utah.gov. Written minutes and a recording are kept of all open meetings with few exceptions. Written minutes include the date, time, and place of the meeting, the names of members present and absent, the substance of all matters, names of citizens providing comments, the substance of the comments provided. Any information a body member requests to be entered into the minutes or recording, and a record by individual member of each vote taken. A body with elected members must record each vote in list format by category for each action taken by a member, including yes votes, no votes, and absent members next to each member's name. A recording must be a complete and unedited record of all open portions of the meeting from beginning to end, and be labeled with the meeting date, time, and place. All or any part of an open meeting may be independently recorded by any person in attendance if the recording does not interfere with the conduct of the meeting. Pending minutes means written minutes of an open meeting, draft form subject to change before being approved by the public body that held the open meeting. Pending minutes must contain clear indication, such as a draft or pending watermark, that the governing body hasn't yet approved the minutes, and that the minutes are subject to change until the public body approves them. Approved minutes means written minutes of an open meeting approved by the public body that held the open meeting. Entities must establish and implement procedures for the public body's approval of written minutes. Public meeting pending minutes, approved minutes, and recordings are public records underground. Any individual who publicly presents information relating to an item on the public body's meeting agenda must provide a copy of the information for inclusion in the public record. Make pending minutes available to the public within 30 days. Within 3 business days after approving written minutes of an open meeting, make approved minutes and any public materials available at the Utah Public Notice website, the entity's primary office, and the entity's website. Within 3 business days after holding an open meeting, make an audio recording of the open meeting available to the public for listening.
Get all that?
Find out.
Yep. And then just hit present. Perfect. Okay, so that brings us to public notices and agendas. Okay. So, notice is what makes your decisions valid, okay? It isn't just a legal requirement, it's how the public knows what you're doing and has the opportunity to participate. Typical meetings, special meetings, quorum of council, planning commission present, like the video said, it's 24-hour notice.
Can I ask a question on that,
Yes,
Alicia?
yeah.
It talked about an emergency meeting, but it still has to be 24 hours, right?
Emergency meetings are kind of different.
Okay,
That is more, I've never had to do an emergency meeting. I think that you can call them and then I have to try to make sure that I text or call every one of you guys to make sure or I can't remember all the rules right now.
3 hours.
Thank you.
So, 3 hours notice is the requirement for an emergency meeting. The reason for the emergency has to be stated on the record. And, it should be done very rare, right? It's very rare,
Right. So can you have an
earthquake, COVID.
emergency closed meeting?
You can if it's that bad,
Okay,
but 24 hours would probably be best if you can.
right, all right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
The more notice, the better. for
Yes,
sure.
absolutely. So the agendas have to include the date, time, location, and obviously the agenda, so. But on the case of a site visit or a ribbon cutting or something where we know a quorum is gonna be there, we're not gonna have an agenda, so. The agenda items must be reasonably specific, and when we get into land use, like approving development, zoning, land use code, like Tyson mentioned, it gets a little bit more complex and tricky on the noticing. It might require mailing that goes out to the affected entities. It might require mailings to go to the property owners within 500 feet of the affected change. And typically it's a 10-day public notice, and those mailings have to be postmarked before, like on or before that 10th day. So, and it is calendar days. And there also might be very, very specific language that you need to include in the notice when you're doing a mailing. Budget amendments, truth and taxation noticing, those types of things. They all have various timelines. Sometimes it's a 7-day. Truth and taxation is a little different. I mean, it has all sorts of timelines in there. Annexation notices, things like that. You know, once you get one thing done, it starts the ball rolling. So you don't really have, and same with referendums. It gets the ball rolling, and so you can't really, you know, pinpoint days until one thing happens and then the next thing happens next. Where we tend to see issues is when noticing isn't enough or specific enough. So an agenda might say like general information or general business, and that's not going to hold up if you take action on something specific or if it's not listed in the agenda. So if it's not noticed, it shouldn't be acted on. You can discuss it, just don't act on it, right? Okay, so grandma.
She's so cute.
She's so cute. So GRAMA stands for the Government Records Access and Management Act. The right, what this means is it gives the right of the public to access certain government records. And it ensures accountability and transparency with government entities. And it also ensures the maintenance of the public records, which is a retention schedule. So these are common examples of records. Any communication, emails, city and personal, if it includes city business, that's the difference. Text messages, if it includes city business. Messaging apps like Teams, Slack, you know, those types of things, if it includes city business. Voicemails, things like that. I'm talking all city business, right? Written, created content, meeting minutes, notes, even handwritten notes, but we'll talk about that in a second. Draft documents, spreadsheets, reports, those are kind of, you know, obvious. Digital, social media, you were talking about this. Facebook posts or comments, if it comes from the official government website, it is a record, and we have to keep it according to retention schedules. So that also means all comments that get posted to the entity's Facebook page or social media, we have to keep all those too. Direct messages, screenshots can be website content. That's all pretty obvious. AI generated content. This is a big one that we're starting to get into. AI summaries of meetings. If you're using your AI tool on Zoom, or if you have a transcription software of some sort and you're in a meeting, please use it with caution, because that can be a record and it can be subject to a grammar request, and I would have to produce it. So any sort of closed meetings or one-on-ones or anything like that, you might not want to record it on your note taker things, okay? Transcripts, drafts, that includes using AI tools. Basically, if you create it or use it for city business, it can be a record. Media and files would include like photos, videos, audio recordings, attachments. Official records are pretty obvious: contracts, permits, applications, policies, ordinances, and resolutions, okay? Less common examples of records would be like texting another council member about a potential vote, using your personal email for city business, AI generated notes or summaries, writing notes during a meeting. And that one is a little, we'll get into that.
I don't know if anybody can understand my notes.
Yeah. We'll get into that in just a second. Okay, retention. So Grantsville City follows the general Utah State records retention schedules for records. I don't know why that was so hard to get out. This schedule can be found on the Utah Division of Archives and Records Services website. This is a screenshot of it. All of our records must be kept according to retention requirements. And it does apply to all formats, emails, text, social media, even notes, depending on how they're used. And the record schedule, retention schedule determines how long we keep it. So some things are permanent forever. Some things are 80 years. A lot of HR records are 80 years. Some things are, maybe 3 years. So we just have to, I always just, before destroying anything or before archiving anything, I just make sure that whatever it is, I'm on there. Deleting a record can obviously create issues. Where problems happen with this is deleting texts or emails too soon, not realizing that something is a record, using personal devices without understanding the retention, and assuming that just because it's informal, it's not a record. Just because something is deleted doesn't mean it was okay to delete it. We all remember the big controversy with a very, anyway, Hillary, right? We all remember that. Deleting something doesn't make it disappear, it just creates risk. So I call myself a recorder hoarder, because I keep everything according to the retention schedule. All right, we're gonna go through security real quick. Most cybersecurity incidents don't start with hackers. They start with people. Usually it's something simple like clicking or opening an attachment to an email. And these emails are designed to look normal, but, and they're really, really easy to miss. You have to be really, really diligent about who you're seeing, because they can fake a name, but then if you hover over the name, then it'll come up with a totally separate email. So I don't know if any of you know that, but yeah. Where we see problems is when something gets clicked without it being verified first. So and most breaches start with just a click. Common risks are phishing emails, which are those ones that you click a link and and you've got a virus, or it wants you to buy something, or suspicious links or attachments. Unknown USB drives or flash drives, please don't put those in your computers. Weak or reused passwords. Where problems happen, clicking a link without verifying it, opening unexpected attachments, plugging in unknown devices, and assuming everything just looks fine, so it's fine. The cities across Utah have had security breaches because of something as simple as an email. Murray City in 2022, they experienced a cyber attack that encrypted their systems. Their phones and online services were disrupted. Residents couldn't pay their bills or access services, and the city actually had to pay $121,000 in ransom. Your takeaway, it's not theoretical. The city literally could not function because of probably one little click, right? In Clearfield, 2021, they got hit by a ransomware attack. The entire network was shut down. Phones, internet, and system were offline. Hackers demanded millions of dollars, and they had to shut everything down just to contain it. Box Elder, they had a major data breach, ransomware. The systems were locked and unusable. FBI and state cyber task force were involved. Over 80,000 individuals' data potentially was exposed, including sensitive data. Reports indicate that millions of files were leaked. We don't ever want to be in the news for that, ever. Recently too, Eagle Mountain in 2022, they got hacked and had to pay, this was actually an online impersonator posting as a vendor working with the city on an infrastructure project, and it ended up costing them $1.13 million. So it's serious. And it's happening here, and it happens to smaller towns, so don't just think it's Salt Lake or something that's gonna get hacked, right? We have to be diligent. Where the problems happen is clicking a link without verifying, opening unexpected attachments, plugging in unknown devices. I went through these a little bit, assuming something looks fine. Most breaches start with a simple click. Any questions for me?
I think this is maybe more of an administrative type question, but who is the company that takes care of our cybersecurity and?
That would
all
be
that? I mean, what-
Legion with Dean.
What's that?
Dean right now is
Dean.
his company, Legion.
Legion?
Yeah.
That's the IT.
Correct.
Services.
And they do all of our cybersecurity, or he does it himself right now. There are other companies, if we do decide to go and find something that has like other teams
Yeah.
of like 14 or something that have that kind of.
I'm just curious, just quickly on just emails and like, we get quite a few emails, but I know there's more emails that we're getting in the background and how those emails are determined being blocked and being let through. Is there some sort of quarantine file out there that it keeps it in a quarantine file?
Yeah, we
So
use,
forth.
because we use Google, that's how he's able to use it, quarantine a lot of those and restrict some of those files based on the Google servers that we have. So because our subscription is with Google, he can use that to manipulate it. And he'll have a further explanation further on that, but as my understanding is, because we have that subscription, all our city emails are from Google, we can use that to filter through those emails and chains.
I always get emails like, I've got one that says, this is Mayor Heidi Hammond, I need your number ASAP.
Yeah.
Really?
And then I
Yes.
got one that said same thing with Michael.
Mhm.
This is Michael Rosaire, send me your number, it's urgent matters.
Well, you better get sending them over.
I'm
I'm
not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but one of my coworkers actually got the gift card one
Yeah.
from
Stuff.
Mayor.
And the one that's been hitting us pretty hard is Derek sending emails out to planning and zoning, asking them to make payments to that
Oh.
to the residents.
I don't get
Oh,
paid, I don't
Derek's
get
trying
paid
to-
enough.
Stop moving.
And
I,
it's just a fishy thing because our names are out there. Everyone knows that. If you get a letter from one of the council or the city manager, people are gonna inadvertently just respond to it if they're not thinking about it.
I'm gonna have to start talking planning and zoning. I haven't seen a dime from them.
I got one from my firm once and it looked like it was from opposing counsel that I had been working with and it said, click this link. So now we have trainings, like the Brittany training, that's don't click the link.
They don't call it that, really.
I know.
Okay.
And somebody else did it after me, so I got,
Okay.
somebody actually went and bought the gift cards for our managing partner.
Same.
So that one was, that one was a little bit worse.
That was my coworker.
But it looked like a very real email. It was like, hey, this is some disclosures that I'm sending over. And I was like, oh, this is an attorney I work with. Then it actually spammed our email and started sending it out from me saying, here's some disclosures.
They are
A few
getting,
years ago, it was what looked like a Microsoft
Mm.
and saying, hey, you need to update your cloud version of Microsoft, click on this. And what it allowed is, once you went through that, it allowed someone to access your computer entirely. Like took full control of your computer.
Yeah, that's what my computer.
You thought you were
stopped
updating
for
your
the-
password
Yeah.
and yeah, somebody else was accessing your computer, so.
It's just crazy the stuff that they can do. It looks very real.
Very real. And with that, I mean, once they have that password, and if you were to use that same password, let's say for your banking account and for your, they've now got that too. So
So
That's why
anything
we-
like that, let's report it to Dean, and
Okay.
that way we can help eliminate, and he can start blocking those even further than they already are.
any other questions before we get to our pop quiz?
Jeopardy.
Okay, we are, I'm gonna run it from here because it'll be a little bit easier. And we're just gonna take like 10 minutes. Is that okay? 10 minutes? Okay, let me start the timer here. Uh-oh.
At the request of Heidi, she wanted a game in the middle of it.
I know.
say we want to go straight to Final Jeopardy. That's the only part of the game I remember.
I think I accidentally just turned the TV off, but. Okay, should we start with mayor?
Question.
That's right.
It's actually, sorry, thanks for bringing that up. I did not do it in the form of questions like, you know, you don't have to answer like that because some of these are meant to make you think and I don't want you stumbling over, oh, I didn't say what is, or, you know, so, yeah. So it's just, you can just answer them, okay? Okay, mayor.
Oh. Let's go with it depends for 300.
All right, starting strong. Oh, you got a daily double already. Okay, you can wager up to 500.
500 it is.
Wow,
Make it a true daily.
all right.
That's right.
Can AI be used for meeting notes?
I'm gonna say No.
One, sorry, what was your answer?
no.
No? It depends.
Say that. Be careful. I was
Wait
gonna
a
say, I slapped. It's not my turn. It depends. It's risky.
You might
Be
find
careful.
a common theme in that category.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it like she brings it up and then we slap it or?
Not on the daily doubles, but you will
Oh.
on the next ones. So
Alright.
on every other one,
Sounds like
so.
you're making up the rules, but let's go.
Oh, is that not?
No, on a daily
Okay.
double, it's only the person that's answering.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I watched.
I haven't ever watched Jeopardy,
Jeopardy's like
so
one of my favorites.
we're in foreign land.
Okay,
Dang.
all right, so got that
She's
wrong.
negative
Oh.
500.
Oh,
I know, that's sad. Go ahead and go again.
Oh, me again.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go with it depends for 200.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I swear these are random.
wait a second.
500.
Okay,
Gotta make it back.
Yeah.
You're gonna go big.
okay, can members talk, when they say members, council members, can they talk outside of meetings?
It depends.
Yes, on?
It depends how many are talking. It depends on if it's city business or personal business. That would be my answer.
Yep. It depends.
Good job.
If there's no quorum, there's no decision making, then yes, you can talk. Good job.
Whew.
You're out of the hole. What's your next category?
Let's go with closed session reality for 400.
All right. The closed session is listed on the agenda without specifying the reason. Before entering, the council member verbally states the purpose in the motion. Verbally states the purpose in the motion. Is this sufficient to go into a closed session?
Don't we buzz in now?
Yeah, this is a buzz in.
Oh, that was terrible.
What is no? You have to have
that-
proper notice.
It's on the agenda,
Oh, it's on the
just not
agenda?
the specified reason.
No, I still say no.
Okay.
Go with my gut. Ah,
OPMA requires the reason to be stated in the motion, and I hate to admit it, but I just learned that when I was doing this.
So that's like if the mayor say a motion, we go into closed meeting for X, Y.
Yes.
So it would have to say for legal
For
counsel.
litigation.
Or, yes.
something, or
Okay.
one of those
Personnel.
reasons.
Personnel discussion.
Yes.
Or- Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
For land.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Acquisition,
land
yeah.
Acquisition discussion.
Yeah.
Something like that.
all right.
Sorry about that, Derek.
That's okay. Derek, go again.
let's do grandma for 300.
All right. Deleting a message, no longer a record, true or false?
Well, sorry, go ahead.
That was red.
That was right.
Oh, what are we doing?
It's
We need
false. It
buzzers.
is still a record. Can't delete it.
False, you're right. Good job. Next, go ahead.
Real world scenarios for 500.
Council members discuss city business at a social event. Is this an issue? Is that Jeff?
Yes, it's an issue. There you go.
Yes, it is OPMA risk if it's a quorum.
But just one-on-one is fine, right?
Mhm.
Like if there's a quorum, it's a problem.
Yes.
That's what it is.
All right, Jeff? go again.
Going back to it depends for 500. I know the answer. I'm ready.
Can a council member take a phone call from a reporter and answer the questions about a matter that will be discussed in an upcoming meeting?
That was that was Jake. No,
that
you
Jake?
got it.
It was Jim.
No,
Jake, what's your,
no.
no? It
Depends.
depends.
Haven't you caught on yet?
I
It
have,
depends.
could be either way.
They can share general information, but probably should avoid committing to a position or appearing to
So I
decide.
actually think yes and no is correct, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
It depends.
It depends.
It depends. Sorry, you got that wrong.
Uh,
All right, Jeff, go again. Or Jake, sorry.
Oh, I get to go by making a bad choice?
Yeah, you were the
Sweet.
one that buzzed in.
Fantastic. Let's do notice and agenda pitfalls 500.
All right. Emergency is a meeting held without notice. What must be documented? I don't think we went over this, so I'll give you whoever can get this.
I'll try it.
Okay,
It must be documented how many people are there and who was noticed. And the time of the meeting, the place, all of those things, time, place.
the reason for the emergency and the minutes. So I'm gonna give you that one.
Thanks. You said you would, so that's.
Yep,
So wait, what would that look like? Cause you said at least 3 hours, we would have to give some kind of notice, right?
yeah, so I would post an agenda, but then there's like certain, I can't remember. I'll have to look at the code and I'll get it to you. 'cause
Emergencies
it's-
happen very rare.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, true emergencies. There's sometimes that, you know, you need to, yeah, go ahead.
It depends for 400.
Okay.
This is actually my job, it depends.
Can you respond to citizens on social media? Who is that?
I need to get out of the negative. It depends.
Really? It depends. You want to make sure you avoid bias, and it does create some records issues if you start acting as a city,
As a
member.
voice.
City representative.
yes, city representative, yes.
Only if
Okay.
you're talking about city issues, right? Like, if I
Yes.
get some fight with some lady on Facebook about, no, I'm just kidding, I wouldn't do that, but that's not, okay.
All right, Derek, go again.
Let's do open meetings traps, 400.
A council member polls the others individually before the meeting is an issue. Is that right?
Yeah, that is an issue. Not good. You shouldn't do that.
That is correct. Circumvents OPMA. Good job. What do you want to do?
Closed session reality for 500.
You notice a council member using a transcription software program or device during a closed session. Is this allowed? Jeff?
Oh,
It was-
Jake,
Jake,
it was
sorry.
Joe.
Jake.
I'd say no.
No. This creates a disclosable and security risk.
And that's the same thing with AI readers. AI readers push information back into wherever source they come from unless you have like an enterprise version. So anytime you're using
Can go
that,
anywhere.
it can be pushing that.
That's correct.
information anywhere.
Yep. Bonus points. Good job.
Hey, get me out of the Z. I don't want to do it depends. Let's do
It's only 100. I mean. it depends.
closed session reality 300.
Council exits closed session and immediately votes based on that discussion. Is this an issue? Is that right?
Yes.
I say yes. Oh, I
Sorry.
would say yes. I don't think
Yes.
we can vote on anything from the closed session.
You actually,
Must.
you must vote in an open session.
But we
Ooh,
can't
this
vote,
is
even if we talked
tricky.
about it in a closed session, we could then talk about, they can vote.
So if you talk about something in a closed session and then open it back up to public, that's when you can make.
But
your-
then is
your
the
action.
item noticed?
Um,
It depends. It
It
should be, it depends,
It should
because I was gonna say it depends.
Yeah,
Does it notice properly?
right.
Well, being in a closed session would, yes, yeah, you're exactly right. So if you had, you know, consideration of resolution, on the, let's say, I don't know, What's a good example?
real estate transaction where the closed session is done to discuss the terms on which you're going to make a decision to purchase real property and why it would be to your disadvantage to discuss the city's position on some of those issues of negotiation. You hash all that out in the closed session to discuss all the risks involved, go back into the open session and say, yeah, we've decided we want to make an offer on that parcel.
Would we have to notice that that will be in a closed session?
So the
That will be
discussion
discussed in
of the purchase of real property would be the reason to go into the closed
How
session.
specific does that have to be?
That would be
We
specific
could
enough.
just,
It's
just to
say
say
that.
real property, it's real property.
And on the agenda, instead of having usually the closed session at the bottom, we'll have
Yeah,
it
we'll
further
just-
up, and then right after that, we'll have the actual agenda.
Because real property files under one of the categories, we just say, like, I know we did litigation, so you just say litigation.
So
Yes.
if we were having a discussion on a piece of property, for instance, that we're talking about, and then it's not noticed that we're going to have a closed session, but somebody on the council says, I really think that we need to discuss some things in a closed session regarding this property, then can you go into a closed session? It has to be noticed that you're going to have a closed session before the meeting ever starts.
Yeah.
About that particular item only.
So it doesn't have to say on the agenda why you're going into closed session, which is generally why I just list a bunch of reasons, because there
Yes.
might be multiple reasons, right?
Right, but then as far as the agenda item is concerned,
Mhm.
can you go off agenda item? Sorry, I'm confusing this in my mind. I think I understand the answer. I'm just not gonna say it.
Okay.
So, okay.
But wait, I
We can-
thought the training did say that once somebody could motion to go into a closed session, but we couldn't do that if it wasn't noticed.
Correct.
Which
So
is
how would
why
you ever vote?
typically, well, it's why we typically have that as a line item
On every
on
agenda.
every
But
agenda.
but it wouldn't be in the proper order. That's what I'm confused about.
But you
Like,
can move
move
to,
it to this item,
yeah,
go into, make everybody leave,
yeah,
And then have them come back.
then they can come back.
Yeah.
That's where I was confused.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It's happened before,
nice.
I remember.
Was that Brittany? And you did?
That was me.
Okay, sorry. All right, you get to, should we do final? That's our time, 10 minutes, unless you guys want to keep going.
One more.
Okay,
I feel like this is actually really helpful.
It is.
thank you.
I learn when I get it wrong. I'm like, oh,
Well,
okay, now I
me too, and then you can discuss a little bit, right, and like figure out things, so it's up to you guys if you want to keep going, or-
Let's go a few more.
okay, go ahead, Brittany.
Oh, it's me. Let's do real world scenarios for 400.
Staff sends a draft policy to all council members for feedback before the meeting, is this an issue? Was that you?
I would say, yes, that's an issue.
Okay. It's a potential serial meeting if everybody starts responding back. Sending it out, and this is why we BCC, is so that we don't reply all, and then we create that serial meeting. Yep, good job. Mayor,
Let's-
want to go again?
Yes, let's go with noticing and agenda pitfalls for 400.
Item is listed, but the final action differs significantly. Is this an issue?
Can that go in it depends?
Oh, when final action means like whether we're gonna vote on it or,
Final action would be your motion.
yeah.
I'm just, go ahead, Rhett.
I'd say yes, if it differs significantly, then I think it is an issue, yes.
Yes, it is outside the scope of the notice. You want to make sure that it's reasonably specified on the agenda for what you're talking
Significantly,
about.
I would say that.
Yep.
That's why the agenda is so very important.
Yes, exactly.
You're over that.
Oh, red, it's got big ones.
Dang, Rhett.
It depends on what I'm.
Okay. Can a council member? Who was that?
That was.
Was that you? Oh, it was Jeff?
Yeah, because I'm gonna say it depends.
Yeah. What does it depend on?
Can a councilman delete emails? Depends on if it's official business or not.
If it's just junk, go ahead and leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's junk, if it's like spam mail, hey, you know, Domino's Pizza, something, don't worry about those, right? You can delete those. But if it's official city business, we need to follow retention rules. Should we do one more and then final, or do you want to keep going?
Go ahead, do one more.
Okay.
Gave me that softball, Jeff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to him.
Yeah.
He said it depends. All right,
I'm gonna go closed sessions for 200 because I'm 100% positive one of these is which councilman is not allowed to speak in a closed session.
a member discusses an item, sorry, I was gonna reword this and I forgot. A member discusses an item discussed during the closed session with their best friend and says, hey, don't say anything to anybody, but is this allowed?
That was Derek, yeah.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
I think if they don't say anything, it's
I
fine.
know.
I'm
No.
just kidding.
This is a
Yeah.
confidentiality violation. Derek's gotta get more cash here.
Real world scenarios 300.
I gotta get one.
A member posts an opinion on a pending land use case on his or her social media page, their personal social media page. Is this an issue?
Yes.
Who's banging?
Jake.
Jake. And you said yes?
Yes.
This puts you at a risk of bias or perception, so you kind of may not want to do that.
Also puts it out there for all the other council members to see as well, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Eliminates a proprietary. Between the group.
You get to
Oh, I
pick
get to go.
It's-
Grammar Reality 500.
All right, going for the big bucks. What determines if something is a record? Location or content? We didn't go over this, so.
Can I say both?
Might be wrong.
Might be.
Right.
I'd say content.
Content. Content. Doesn't matter if you're
Location,
at
that's
McDonald's. So, and you text your friend, it's yes. All right, should we do final or do you want to
Yeah,
go
Brad
more?
needs to risk all of his.
Double or nothing.
I will. Just kidding.
Do we go more or do you want to do final?
Do final.
Okay.
Let's go.
Sorry.
Wait, can we see the category? Just kidding.
Yes, you can actually. All right, the category
Oh.
is cybersecurity.
Oh, I will learn the hard way.
You might get this. Mayor, how much do you want to risk?
400.
Okay. Okay,
Wait, but we know
Councilmember
what
Butler,
We know what they're betting.
Don't I get to go last? No, I'm
sure,
just kidding.
you can.
Okay.
Okay, Councilmember Dalton,
And it all.
okay. Councilmember Skinner,
Yes, I'm betting it all.
okay. Councilmember,
All my 200.
Thomas.
Sending it.
Now that was not a clear motion, so.
Oh, okay. One. I'll bet one.
100,
Yeah.
okay, see,
No,
this
no,
is,
$1.
oh, $1, I don't think I can do
Oh.
$1.
That's in 50s.
It's in increments of 50,
No, I'll do all 300.
okay. Councilmember Williams,
Just, I'm all of it.
all of it?
That's 350.
Is that how you calculated the
Absolutely.
All right, y'all ready?
That competitive streak is not showing.
What is the most common way that a cybersecurity breach begins in local government?
Do we write it down? Just say
Just
what-
think it in your head.
Okay.
And maybe we'll go around does everybody have their answer? Yeah? Should we?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
I'll go last.
Well, you're kind of the
That's fine. Go ahead.
phishing
Phishing.
or phishing email is the number one. All right,
Well,
so.
I was gonna say with a
I
click.
had it right, but I
But-
spelled it FISHING.
All right,
click.
Starts with a click.
yay.
Good job. Oh, I'm-
Way to go.
That's
Yes.
one.
Good job, guys.
Oh, actually, me and Derek.
Let's
were-
add it all up and let's add that all up and give it to the flowers.
If only.
All right, that's it.
Donation.
Thank you guys all for participating.
Yep.
Thank
Brett,
you.
with
That
your
was fun.
first
Thank you.
choice or
Thank you.
Whopper Room Not Fed.
Oh.
Nice.
Uh,
Let's see, Brittany, you got extra points, right?
No, I was last.
You, huh?
I was very
No,
last.
but you answered a question that we haven't talked about.
Never come
Oh.
down.
That's how Whoppers Room Feds.
Dinner, they can present.
Who else got the extra point stuff that we didn't really go over?
I don't know if anybody
I
did.
think everyone got it.
Yeah, I think everybody got it.
This is participation.
Absolutely.
Everyone's a winner. Thank you. This is great.
We do have dinner coming soon, should be here anytime. We're kind of just gonna, you want
Give it,
these
no,
or?
give them to Jake.
Okay, but we
I got a
also
whole
have
bucket over
Whoppers
here.
Real
Look at
Fed.
this.
No, I'm good.
No,
Thank you.
I'm not a pretzel.
Well, all right, somebody else is gonna need it.
Donate.
Oh,
I
wait a
will eat
minute.
those.
Wait a minute, I know somebody that wanted these.
There you go.
Yep, you got him, Aspen.
You know I denied him for one reason.
I mean.
Okay, thank you, Alicia. That was
You're
wonderful.
welcome.
Our next agenda item is number 3, a training of roles and responsibilities of the HR Treasurer Department.
Hello. Good evening, Mayor, Council, Heidi Jeffries, HR and Treasurer for Grantsville City. I have a slide.
Okay. Let me just plug everything back in real quick. Do you, you put it in the Google or you're gonna take your laptop?
Google.
Hold it. Sorry, I have a lot of room. All right.
Took me like 5 minutes in that game to figure out I was supposed to.
I
I was like,
You didn't
I
get
thought it
it
was.
the very first time.
Well, when Jeff read the question, I was like, okay, Jeff's got to give the answer. And I'm like, wait a
That's
second,
the
how come
one.
everybody else is?
Which one is it? Is it the
Gotta go
Grantsville
back
City
and
HR
watch. I didn't-
PBT?
Mitch watched some reruns of Jeopardy.
You're gonna have to
apparently.
watch some reruns.
Blue.
Not presented in.
Did you watch Chris Jennings' long run on Jeopardy?
Ken-
Neither did
Oh,
I.
Ken
Did you ever
Ken
watch?
Jennings. He's the
Yeah.
host now.
Ken
Ken.
Jennings, that's
Yeah.
right. Ken.
He's the host.
He's the host?
He's the host now.
Mhm.
Oh, but he played on?
Yeah,
Mhm.
he's from Utah. Yeah.
From Sandy,
Yeah.
I think. There was a guy
how
from
do you-
Grantsville, I think it was Ron Johnson's, one of Ron
How do
Johnson's
you?
sons.
Oh,
Really?
right
It
there.
was on Jeopardy
There we go.
once.
Sure.
And-
Really?
Beezer was on Jeopardy once.
Who's that?
Maren Beezer.
Oh,
like
Really?
Beezer's wife. Yeah. She, fun.
Remember which?
That would be like my goal, the ultimate dream.
Oh,
Except I would probably lose.
I get embarrassed in that.
Yeah, I felt like, I didn't have like Celebrity Jeopardy where the questions are like easier, or like college or high school.
Softballs. All right,
All right, you guys ready?
yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. So I just wanted to briefly go over our workforce that we have right now. We currently have 99 employees. 73 are full-time, 26 are part-time. Our tenure is at 3.5. We have brought on 39 new hires since May of 2025, and we've had 26 separations. We've added several new positions to the company, such as community development, road supervisor, GIS, code enforcement, an engineer, another victims advocate, a part-time mechanic, and an infrastructure inspector. Our next slide.
It's a lot to manage, we'll just say that.
The law.
It is.
But we have great directors, so it's very, very helpful. This is our tenure by department. You can see everybody wants to work at the library. That's where they stay.
It does look like that.
I can't say I blame them. They get to do fun things like bubbles and egg drops. We have one employee who has been with us for 38 years and 2 months. Another that's been with us for 21 years and 10 months. And then somebody who's been with us for 13 years and 1 month. Those are our longest serving members.
Can I ask a good question while
Of
we're there?
course.
Like, what do we do to recognize that?
That is something that we
'Cause that's very
are
unique.
not good at.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often in the industry. I know personally within what we do at our company, when we have one that's been there 30 years. But I think that's something maybe we ought to,
Celebrate.
yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
So. Sorry to get you off.
No, that's perfect. I appreciate that because I think those things are important too. Celebrating our employees and their successes is kind of a big deal, and that's something we could definitely improve
How do
on.
you celebrate at your company?
We give them a rifle.
I think we should do that here.
No.
We do. We give them a Henry's rifle that has like it's gold embossed and it's engraved and I mean, obviously, but for that amount of time frame, I mean, obviously we have different rules we have to follow, but like recognition is, I mean, especially someone who's worked that long, that's.
I mean, the city
real
has
asset.
historically given out a rifle to the outgoing mayor. That was one of the outgoing gifts. But
Well,
that-
sweet.
That has stopped. We aren't doing that anymore.
No, I mean, if you were to ask me, there's a lot of different ways. I mean, obviously it's we do the crystal things that you put in the corner of your desk. That's, to me, that's nice. It's a nice gesture, but like something, I think it would just, that's pretty impressive to have someone that's
Okay.
worked that long and.
We give
Should
additional
recognize them.
PTO.
Yeah.
That's when they hit certain marks, they get additional.
We do
PTO.
like gift cards, so for 5 years, 10 years, we get like gift cards.
Everyone likes time off.
Everybody
Especially those
does.
who've been there
Yeah.
longest, that's the way we look at it.
One of the problems we have with our people who have been here a long time is the vacation time.
Mhm.
We can only carry over 240 hours and they have their max all the
All
time.
the time.
Cause they're,
So it's really hard for them to use their
'Cause-
vacation.
Yeah.
Great ideas. I love the suggestions. Thank you.
I think some social, we have social media recognize, it'd be an excellent place to say congratulations to so-and-so for, if they're okay with that going public, but
Some people are, right?
yeah, I think something like that, a recognition on our site and thanking them for their hard work, so.
Any other ideas?
Yeah, any other ideas? I think those are great ideas.
naming a park after them.
Street name or, I'd like a nice Traeger.
That's great,
We are talking about public works, so they probably would also like a Traeger.
Yeah.
probably. That's great.
A little less liability than a rifle.
Yeah,
This is just an overview of our labor costs right now. This is current year to date. You'll notice that one that drops down in February, that's an off-cycle paycheck. So that's gonna be somebody who's leaving the city. We currently have had 44,500 labor hours right now. And the next slide, we're gonna talk about benefits. So our benefits go up every year. Our medical insurance is currently going up 5%. Our dental is going up between 2.9 to 3.89. And great news, our vision went down a little bit, so there's a savings on that. Not a big savings though, because the vision is very reasonable. We're projecting a monthly cost of $122,000. Our increase is gonna be $5,648 a month. And then we're looking at $67,776 for an annual increase of our benefit rates as far as medical, dental, and vision goes.
I'm assuming the answer to this is yes, but do we competitively shop that? Or are we held to
We
some public?
We have not
Indeed.
historically shopped that. That is something that Michael would like us to do in the future. I do come from the private sector, so these small increases of 5% are really great increases. Private looks at much higher, anywhere from 10 to 18%. But we will be looking at other options for next year.
I mean, as we grow as a city, that number should technically go down, right? I mean, the more employees you have, the,
We're actually in a big pool with PEHP, so they're
Okay.
not just looking at just
It
us.
depends on our claims too that we get as well.
right?
It's really the drugs too that they really factor in.
One of the things that we do get hit pretty hard on out here is there's not a lot of facilities for our employees to go to. So there's not a lot of urgent cares or peds after hours. And so instead of going to something like that, they would normally do in Salt Lake, they go to the emergency room. We also don't have like in-network providers who can do colonoscopies and things like that. So they go to somebody who's out of the network, which is a little more difficult out here.
What is our network?
It's PHP, so
So the like Select Health or?
we have two plans. We have a Summit and an Advantage. So it depends on what plan. Do you want to go to the IHC hospitals or do you want to go to more of the Pioneer or Salt Lake Regional type hospitals?
And I didn't want to get us off on a subject. We need to figure out which hospital we're gonna put next in Grantsville. So
Exactly.
we might as well have the right one.
You might as well. That would be helpful for our employees, for the citizens, everybody out here.
It's gonna be a need.
So our next slide, we're gonna go over what the city does for our employees. We talked about our health, medical health, dental, vision coverage. The city actually pays 85% of those premiums for our employees. And we have a very low deductible rate, so a 250 for a single and a 500 for a family, which is pretty incredible. Most of our cost is gonna be a deduct or a co-payment plan on that. We also match 3% dollar for dollar for the 401k for our employees. So if an employee puts in 3%, we'll match 3%. They put in 2%, we'll match 2%. If they don't put anything into their 401k, they don't receive the 3%. So they actually have to contribute to that. The city also covers for all full-time employees 50,000 of life insurance. And also we cover 10,000 for your spouse and 10,000 for your children. We also have a long-term disability policy and a short-term disability policy for our full-time employees. And then we also offer Blomquist Health. There are our employee assistant program. So if employees are suffering with any type of mental health, any type of crisis, it covers. They're the ones that come out for our police department when they have difficult things that they're going through. We also do a gym membership. That's gonna be later. Our next slide is gonna be our paid time off. We have our vacations, our vacations based off of years of service. And the max carryover is 240. We do have a cash out, so if somebody leaves the city, whether they retire or they move on to somewhere else, it is a cash out, so they can cash that out. We have sick leave accrual, it's 12 days per year. There is no cash out for that. We also do have funeral leave. It's up to 24 hours of leave depending on who has passed. Comp time is something we allow our employees to accrue. So instead of their overtime, they can bank comp time. And we have 15 paid holidays per year. These are for full-time employees only. Some additional benefits that we have are going to be our gym membership. So if employees want to participate in the gym membership, they can receive $9.23 on their paychecks each pay period.
Did you say that one was upcoming or is this currently?
This is current.
Oh.
So if anyone has a gym membership, they can apply for that.
Till our one gym.
Does the gym have to be in Grantsville?
No, it doesn't have to be in
Oh, I was gonna
Grantsville.
say we have one.
Yeah, no, it doesn't have to be in Grantsville. And then we also offer a very generous 6 weeks of paid parental leave as well. And that begins at birth. That's for adoption, foster care placement. And that's available for our men and women who work here within the city. As we lose some of our longtime employees, some of the things that we've lost are institutional knowledge. It's one of the things that we're really working hard on and focusing on in HR is going to be the onboarding process. That's how we see people through. We focus on the whole life cycle from the first time we interview until their separation. We've implemented a lot of checklists that are viewable for, you know, pertinent directors. So if it's coming in through Public Works, it's going to be Christy that's going to see those. Michael will also see those. We're working on offboarding and then also initiatives on how we bring people on so they don't get lost in the system. The next thing I wanted to touch on is growth. That's one thing that we're really trying to work towards is getting prepared for the future, what's coming to Grantsville, making sure our workforce is ready to handle that. So we're going to be doing a compensation study and then a knowledge transfer program where we can bring the knowledge that our people that have been here 30+ years can pass that on, whether that be from a binder or training people up inside the system. Another thing we're working on is our employee handbook. That's an area that we definitely could strengthen. There's a lot of things in there that contradict itself. So we're working on that. It's currently with legal right now. So they're going over that. We'll be rolling that out hopefully the end of the third quarter of this year. And then our last, what we want to talk about is just celebrating our employees. You guys already touched on that. And I think that's definitely an area of improvement that we could do is celebrate the people who show up every single day, serve with integrity, and help grow our city. Any questions?
Do we have any open positions right now?
We do. We actually have a meter / blue stakes person that's open right now. And we're also looking for a roads lead. Those have not been posted, but they will be posted soon.
I think if anyone comes up or has any other thoughts on recognizing and celebrating the employees, I think if you could email Heidi or myself and we can kind of collaborate on that.
That'd be great. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Guess we'd always get a non-working rifle, right?
Yeah.
They're not as fun.
Hobby Lobby, I think,
Back
sells
there.
those.
Hobby Lobby. I take the Hobby Lobby gift card.
Yeah.
that's-
We don't need no
I want a
rights here.
gift card.
Alright, that's great.
All right,
Yeah, let's get some food and then.
And then Alexis.
all right, we're gonna take a
Perfect, yeah.
5-minute break, 10-minute break.
Yeah, we can grab our food and then Alexis will be here to present grants while you're eating.
Okay, perfect.
I was trying to move it off, but I can't get it, it won't. Sorry, I couldn't see that it was there. No, I've got my trackpad, it's just like. Close. There you go.
Okay, hi, I'm Alexis. So I am just gonna give you a quick report, just on our process that we have right now, just some active grants, some grants we're waiting on. And then just to kind of give you more of a clear, like picture of the process.
Give me like 1 second. Sorry, I have to control this. Sorry.
Is there any chance we can get what was shared tonight?
Yes,
Would that work?
and it's on YouTube too.
Okay.
What about the rest of the Jeopardy question?
I would be happy to send you a list.
Yeah, I wanna see those.
While Alexis is pulling this up.
Well, it's me, it's not Alexis.
While Alicia is pulling up Alexis's slides, I just want to point out something about Alexis. I was talking with UDOT, trying to secure some opportunities for some grants for Main Street for sidewalks. And she had submitted 2 applications. And of all the applications that they received throughout the state, the top 2 applications came from the city of Grantsville. Alexis, excellent work. They could only award us 1, but both of the top applications came from Alexis.
That's
in the
great.
whole
Way to
state.
go.
Well done, Alexis.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Okay.
Maybe.
Can you get it? It's,
Is it?
sorry, here, there you go. Nope, it's on. Okay.
Okay, so it'll actually be pretty quick regardless of what this agenda says. So I'm just gonna go over just the roles and responsibilities, the process, a little bit about the budget, some of the grants we are going to start working on, the ones we're waiting on, and then just looking ahead for grants. Okay, so these are the roles and responsibilities of everyone who is involved in a grant, so like literally everyone. So my role here is to search for grants, and then I apply for them and then manage them once they're awarded. The department leads, so they also play a huge role, so they help me find grants, but then they also help give me the information for them. And then if those are awarded, then they also help with the process of purchasing, building, whatever that may be. The finance department, so Aspen, so we always run things through her, just to make sure that we have that budget available. And then she'll make sure that the procurement process is being followed. And then the city administration, so they, is our main administration for this part. And so they review the priorities, make sure that we're following like the CFP, and that what the department heads want to apply for align with the city's priorities. And then for city council, what we have had a few come recently where we are asking you guys to approve, just so we can make sure that those funds are dedicated to that specific project. So that is your role in the grant process. And then just any partners or consultants that we also may bring into the grants as well. All right, so this is kind of what I just mentioned. So the grant process, so first is just identifying opportunities. So this is just going out and looking to see what there is to apply for. The next step is once we do find what we can apply for, we like to evaluate to see if it's a good fit for us, if there's anything in our CFP that we could use that money for, then we start to plan that project. Once we have all the information we need, we go ahead and apply for it. And then if we are awarded, we'll negotiate any terms and then get the contract signed. And then after that, we just manage and report it until that project is completed. All right, so when we are looking for grants to apply for, there's a few things that we look at to make sure that it's going to be a good fit for our city. So the first is alignment. So we are always going back to this EFP to make sure it's in there. So if there's a park we want to apply for, or like the UR grant, we'll look at the CFP and see what projects are listed in there. If we want to do a road project, we'll go to streets and we'll look at the streets that are listed in that section. So that's a huge basis for the grants that we apply for. The next is just fiscal responsibility. So again, we want to make sure that we have the funds appropriated for that specific project before we apply. And then next, we just want to make sure that it's going to impact our community in a positive way, and it's something that we actually need and not just something that we want. And then just leveraging, so we also try to make sure that we stretch those tax dollars as best we can, just to make sure that we're getting all of our taxpayers' money. Okay. So just going back over the budget, so we only apply for grants for the amount of money that we have budgeted. So we're going to be sitting with Aspen. I'm sure she actually already has it, but and setting specific funds aside for this next fiscal year for grants specifically, and then that way we know what we can and can't apply for, rather than just kind of trying to figure it out as we apply, but more so being more prepared. And then again, we always refer back to the CFP when we're trying to figure out what to apply for. All right. Right now we have $1.136 million in active grant funds. So these would be ones, whether they've already started in the past or they will be starting pretty soon here. These are our upcoming grants. So the first one is the Transportation Alternative, or TAP. This is a sidewalk project, and it will be from Park Street, from Mountain Meadows down to Pear, and then we'll put a crosswalk at Pear Street. So that will just make sure that those kids on the west side of Park Street can get to Willow safely, that they'll have a dedicated sidewalk on Park Street. And then we have Durfee Street from Cooley to West Street. So right now on Durfee, the sidewalk starts at the junior high and it's continuous all the way to Cooley Street, and then it stops. So this will just finish that route all the way to West Street, from Cooley to West Street. And then there'll be, I think there is a crosswalk there currently, so we'll just finish that last block. And then all of Durfee will be completed from the junior high to West Street. And then also the general plan, so that one was recently awarded as well. And that will just allow us to update our agenda. Okay, and then just a few grants on what we're waiting on. And there's, of course, like this is not the whole list, this is just the ones I picked. So the first one, the highest one, is the Celeste Molly appropriations request. So we requested 5.425 million. This will be to design, what do they call it? The Teague Road. I remember the official name.
The Depot Road.
Hammond Highway.
Colonel Road, it's got a lot of names.
Yeah, oh, well, whatever.
We're trying to
name
find a name for it.
Yeah. That road.
Right now, it's the Depot Road. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been getting some Celeste Molly emails, and she is going through those appropriation requests now. So hopefully we hear back soon on that one. The next one is the Scenic Slopes Park Restroom and Pavilion. So this will be very, very similar to the one that they have at the Peak by their playground. So we'll just have a women's restroom, men's restroom, will be multiple stalls, and then a pavilion built off of that. The bleachers for the rodeo ground, this is one that Christy has gotten in the past, so we reapplied for the same thing again. This is going to come from the Twila Special Service District, is the one who would give this one, so hopefully we can get some of the bleachers. And then a firehouse subs grant, this is for the fire department to try to get them some electric extrication equipment, so some jaw supply. And then just grants, why the grants matter, so they enhance public safety and emergency preparedness. They improve mobility and accessibility. They create recreational opportunities for all ages. And then most importantly, it brings outside funding into Grantsville. And then it just helps us accomplish more than what we could with just using the funds that we have now. Okay, and then just looking towards the future. So we'll continue to look for grant opportunities that align with our priorities and our CIP. And then we'll also look at strengthening partnerships and looking for other ways to leverage funding. And then we'll just continue on delivering projects that have long-term value and that serve our community.
That's great.
Thank
you.
Thanks,
Any
Alexis. Make it happen. Thanks so much.
I loved your pictures on your slides here. I actually do have one question, Alexis. So you mentioned that it has to be, if we apply for a grant, it has to be in the budget to make the match. So what happens if we come across a really great opportunity for a grant, but we hadn't put that in necessarily our grant budget line? But we feel like it's important. Is there a means of way, like, let's just say we wanted to use some funding from maybe the water funds or whatever, that we decided, no, this is a good opportunity. We want to do that. Like what is that process? It's just a you say, nope, we're not doing that. It's not in the budget, or like.
No, it depends. So we could, well, of course, we would ask Aspect.
Yeah.
But we could go back to city council. So for instance, when we applied for, I think phase 2 of Scenic Slopes Park, we didn't have $2 million laying around. So we came back to city council and asked, we do for that one. Asked for part of the water money to go towards that, right? So it hasn't been budgeted yet. Or we may, pretty much we would come back to city council and depending on the cost, and then have you guys amend the budget to allow us to pay for those items. If they're smaller items, we could typically just look at that department's budget and see if maybe they have enough in their budget somewhere to where we can kind of move funds around, but that's not like standard. That's not something we would want to do. We would just want to make sure that they have enough money, and then if so, we would come ask the council.
All right,
So
thank
we
you.
have some flexibility, but to a certain
Yeah.
extent.
Yeah, trying to stick to the budget though.
It depends.
Yeah, but
It's resetting priorities, so you take money from one spot to another spot, saying this is a higher priority, so yes.
There's some
yeah.
opportunity.
Okay, cool.
All right, thank you.
Thank
You
you.
got Alexis.
Keep fighting for us.
That's right. All right, our next agenda item is item number 5, training of roles and responsibility of finance director roles.
Are you plugging in yourself or do you want me to?
Either way, when we get to the end, depending on how much they want to talk about it, I'm gonna want access to my Excel sheet up there,
Why don't you go ahead and plug in?
but, okay. Oh, okay, I just like, I don't know how this works. Okay. Okay, cool. So, I'll try to keep it pretty high level. I know it's Friday. Michael said 6:30, so I'm gonna try and make it. We're gonna do like a brief overview of all of our not all of our general funds, but all of our funds, as well as touch on impact fees and fee in lieu. Briefly touch on the budgeting process, and then a little bit of discussion about sales tax and property tax, and then if you have questions at the end, talk about it. So we have several different funds. When I send out those monthly financials, they are separated out along the top. You can see general fund, water fund, sewer fund, garbage fund. The general fund is basically our day-to-day operations for many of our departments. Our debt services fund is where we make sure that we can pay our loans, bonds, and other outstanding debts that we have. Capital projects fund is kind of a catch-all a little bit for preparing for future large capital expenses for general fund, not necessarily water fund, sewer fund, or garbage. Just because those are enterprise funds or proprietary funds, and so really the capital projects should be to serve like the general administrative general fund departments, not so much our enterprise fund departments. And then of course the enterprise funds, which are water, sewer, and garbage, and they're enterprise funds because they kind of operate as a business. So we have those utilities, they get like, we're selling the service, and then they're basically self-sufficient, ideally. So these are all of the departments that are in our general fund. They get money from sales tax, property tax, and then a lot of other fund revenues, sometimes fines. We get some interlocal government agreements, but mostly the big ones are property tax and sales tax. And then this is basically just operating expenses. They will have some, dependent on the year, maybe capital, but a lot of that will be captured in the capital projects fund. So really the general fund is strictly for operations, for day-to-day function of the city to run. So it's gonna be like things like salaries, benefits, their appropriate bills for Rock Mountain Power, Enbridge, the cost of our vehicles, supplies, material, that kind of thing, just operations. Like I had mentioned earlier, the debt services is to cover our current debts that we have for loans. Capital projects are things that we can start saving for. You'll notice on our financials, we do have one specific for like scenic slopes, the Veterans Park, ball fields. Those are capital projects that we have in different sections that this council has currently decided to put those funds towards. However, it's kind of just a formality because ultimately you can't earmark the capital projects fund. So like if you guys leave and we have new council in and they're like, yeah, we don't want to fund the Veterans Park anymore, you were not locked into the Veterans Park necessarily. That's just what's been selected currently. And then for our enterprise funds, so like I mentioned earlier, that's our water, sewer, and garbage. The revenues have to stay within that fund. They can't be shared. Our general fund could be used to supplement an enterprise fund relatively easily. We can't, mostly because there's no money to supplement them, but ultimately you could. However, transfers coming out of an enterprise fund are a lot more difficult. We would have to do public hearings, public notices. And then you can do it as an option of a loan, but so that way the general fund can pay them back. But that's what we'll end up, not the loan part, but we will end up transferring out most likely the 18 million for the water credit sale, because that will go into the water fund. But in order to use that money for other things, we'll have to transfer it out. So.
Could I ask a question on that?
Yeah.
That last, what other services other than those three could a city possibly have? Just curious, if there was ever another enterprise fund created, what could that be?
We're currently doing a study, the county is, and it's gonna be a transportation utility fee that would do that. So it'd fall under this kind of a fee where you could use it to only specifically for that. So it'd be like, instead of like increasing taxes for that, this utility fee would now start to require like the churches and schools to pay for the impact on the roads. And so you could use that fund for replacing roads, building new roads, all sorts of things like that. So that would be one of the main ones that we could do. Other cities have like a power company or they own the gas company.
Right.
And so that would be another factor that they would have.
Could you have one set up for, just curious, more of like a, let's say you had a recreation or rec center. Could that be set up as an enterprise fund?
Yeah, it would be similar to what Twila City does, like they have their golf course and they have
Okay.
a pool. those are kind of a similar thing, you know, like they pay a fee to go to the pool and then those, you know, costs help
Pay for us.
sustain the pool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was just curious, I mean, we're not just locked into those three, right? There are other ways in which you could create enterprise funds inside a city entity.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Another way that we get money is through impact fees. The intention of impact fees is for the growth, to pay for the growth. They are one-time payments that are collected from our developers when they come in. And the intention is to have them, that fee to help the city pay for the cost of them coming on board to our things. Grantsville City, we have 5 impact fees right now: drinking water, public safety, parks and rec, wastewater, and transportation. All of those have to be used for what they were collected for. So you can't use park impact fees to fund like more public safety things. Like they have to be used for what they're collected for. And the development itself has to benefit from it. So you can't take impact fees from one area of town to help develop another area that doesn't improve the development that paid the impact fee. They're heavily monitored and restricted by the state. We do have to adopt an impact fee plan, which we do. We adjust that yearly with Enzyme. We recently went through that, so those will be getting implemented soon. And yeah, so we do that yearly. Here are some just other restrictions, kind of like I mentioned. So they have to be used for capital improvements. They can't be used for operating expenses like paying salaries or paying for regular maintenance of things. There has to be that clear connection. We do have that proportionality requirement, which we encountered when we went through the wastewater treatment plant. Only a specific portion that's actually due to the new development can be impact fee eligible. And then, like I had mentioned, they're restricted by the specific categories that they're collected for. There are some geographic limitations. Like I had said, you can't take impact fees from the west end of town to do a project on the east end of town. And then we do have.
Is there like a mile, like it has to be within so many miles or?
I'm not sure of a specific mileage limitation. It would just have to, I imagine, be like reasonably so, like.
Yeah.
I think we ran into that with scenic slopes,
Mhm.
because there was a pool of money, if I
Mhm.
remember right, that was impact fee eligible, but it needed to be utilized in that area.
I think that's why we decided to
Do
do
scenic
scenic
slopes,
slopes, was
that's
because
exactly
it had to be used in that
And it
area.
was a significant amount of money, if I
Mhm.
remember right, it was like 400,000.
Which
plus
goes into
dollars.
her next thing, which is time
Yeah.
limits, and that we were running out.
We were running out of
Yeah.
time.
Right.
So we have 7 years to
Have to
use
refund
them, but the intention of giving 7 years is sometimes like if you have a brand new development that comes in with, you know, smaller park impact fees, it does give us the opportunity to kind of sit on those while we let other developments come in, pay those park impact fees, which would give us like a better park or a larger one to better serve rather than using minimal funds to create a small park, for instance. So it does give you the opportunity to kind of gather some up to pull them together for a bigger benefit for that community. Similarly, we have a fee in lieu option for developers. This gives them the opportunity to pay a fee instead of providing a necessary infrastructure that would normally be required. So this would be fee in lieu of roads, water, sewer, open space, sidewalks, or parks. Just generally speaking, based on our financials, we typically own, the most common are sidewalks, parks, and open space. It's basically so that we can collect it again and then build it on a larger scale later. They are similar to impact fees, like there are some similar restrictions. It's a 7-year usage again. We do have to still report on it, so I have to submit a report, and it does need to be used for capital projects. But they're just slightly less restrictive than these. So. Okay, so for our budget process, we're in the middle of this right now. You're gonna see me for a long time next Wednesday, but basically just we do budget. I'm basically just the just the messenger. I don't make decisions on what gets approved. You guys, the budget is yours. City administration, Mayor and Michael they are able to make recommendations to the budget, but ultimately it's your guys's as far as decisions of approvals or not. With that, the state, like I'm sure last year, the school district's tax increase did not go through. Their truth in taxation, they cracked down on transparency of that. So just as a heads up, on Wednesday, we will be making just a statement of declaration that we are considering a tax increase. We have to do that in case you guys ever did want to consider it. Because if I don't make the statement now, you can't come back and say, hey, we'd like to consider it, because it's too late. So it by no means binds us to a tax increase. It doesn't say that we're gonna do one. It just, I have to make the declaration that we are considering it. So,
And that's the new rule they put out, right?
it was
Newish rule.
newish. It was last year, but a lot of places didn't do it, which is why they ended up not going through. So just letting you guys know, so on Wednesday, you guys don't panic. It by no means binds us to anything. I just have to state it. So that will be on the agenda. So I did want to touch on sales tax just because I think that that's kind of a misunderstanding of how we get it. So basically here in the state of Utah, it goes into a pool. So our city tax rate is 7%. Of that 7%, we only get to keep 1% directly. The other 6% goes into a pool with the state along with everyone else's. And then it gets compiled together and then redistributed based on our population. So, yeah, we don't get and it does help, for instance, ours where we have such little commercial, we actually do get a bigger piece of the pie by this being the process, rather than if we just kept the full 7%. They do this just to help out cities that might not have as much commercial, to help share the love a little bit. Let's see if I can.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah.
So, for instance, Salt Lake City, I think is 7.85%. And West Valley City is 7.445%. Park City is 8.5%. So what determines what that sales tax rate is for the individual cities, and how come we're lower right there than those other entities? Just curious.
Yeah, so, okay, I'm sorry, I'm pulling it up. So that I just clicked on that link.
Mhm.
Okay, and so it brings us to, this is the sales and use tax page on the state tax commission's page. And then if you come down here, they have the rate charts. So I've opened this last one for April. And so this is the different types. So our number is 2303 or 23023. Let's see. It's not in any great order, just so you're aware. So if you're looking for Grantsville, it's not alphabetical. It's here. So
Just Google it.
This is Tooele County down here in this section here. So Grantsville City is that 023 number. And then if you go all the way over, then you can see that our grand total is the 7%. Along the top, there's these small letters that indicate what the rates that we have in 4-star, and then these are what those are. So the mass transit is the MT, then we have the highway tax, we have, I wonder if I don't wanna make it too small, but I also would like to be able to show which line is ours.
It's all good. We can see it.
Okay.
23023, right?
Yes. And so we have the ST, which is the state, the LS, which is local sales and use tax, which is the 1% that we get to keep. And then there's the county option as well. And then we also have this MT, which like I mentioned before is the mass transit. And then the CT is the county transportation. Let's see, AT is transportation infrastructure. And then we do have a small one for our botanical cultural zoos and things like that, the CZ one. So,
Interesting.
we could potentially, if we wanted to, go through and adopt some of these other taxes that would collect. So some of these other ones that have like a higher rate, it's because they have implemented more of these, the different options that we have. But
What is RH? It's is that hospitality or hospitals?
is rural hospital.
Rural hospital tax.
Mhm. So if we stayed small and got a hospital, then, you know. But yeah, and so this, they publish every month, it's just available on that website, but, and then they do summarize changes at the end, just because there's not a lot of changes typically.
We probably don't qualify for the resort community.
Unfortunately,
yes, we
I
do.
don't think so.
Wow. You got White Rock up there, it's a resort.
Maybe we could do special sturgeon fishing. at
That's
Grantsville
right.
Reservoir.
There you
Getting
go.
out.
Guided trips on the Grantsville Reservoir.
Yeah, yeah,
Coming up.
exactly. So that's sales tax. So this is just kind of an overview of property taxes. Our current property tax rate for last year was 0.01368. The average value of a home here in Grantsville City is 530,000. That was provided by the county. I called them yesterday, so. Residents do get the primary residence discount, which is basically 55%, so they're taxed on 55% of the value of their home. And then the county does offer the abatement programs that are offered through the state, which are things like the circuit breaker, veterans, indigent, nonprofit, and religious organizations also get a tax break. But for this year, so the circuit breaker and indigent are based on your age and income level. So if you're considered low income, which the state changes this value, this amount every year. But for this year, it's 44,221. So if you make less than that in 2025, then you can qualify for the circuit breaker or indigent. And then for the circuit breaker, you have to be older than 65, so 66 and plus. But that means you automatically would get a relief program. So they just have different programs to apply for it, typically by September 1st. So if you guys wanna spread that around, it does help our low income households be able to pay their property taxes.
But with our property taxes, so a resident is taxed on just a discount of 55%
Mhm.
is what they're taxed on with their property tax, but a business is the full 100%. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that's why it's so critical to increase that commercial side of our revenue stream.
Correct, and typically like the value of a commercial property is gonna be higher than the value of a residential anyway.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, they would be paying 100% of the property tax on the value of 100% rather than a residential is half, give or take.
Just one other thing that I think we went through this last year, but our property tax rate went up as individuals county-wise, but our rate actually went down because it's proportional to that amount. So I think if I remember right, the mayor made it a point that actually Grantsville's portion of that rate actually was decreased, and it's, I would say, consistently done that, but it's done that in the past. If I remember right, last year was that year.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so typically because it's evaluated every year, so we actually don't have our certified tax rate yet for this year. The state hasn't released that information yet, and the assessors don't even have to have our values in until June 8th. So it's early. But typically if the value goes up, then the tax rate will go down, like if the overall values go up. And then it's like an inverse relationship, so the opposite would be true as well. But just to kind of put it into perspective a little bit, I did pull some property tax info. So these are what the taxable revenue was for calendar year 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And so you can see like as the taxable value went up, our rate was actually going down. But then this year, in 24, the taxable value went down, and so our rate actually went back up from where it had been the year prior. So on average, with no tax increase, we typically collect an extra 117-ish thousand every year in tax.
For the
So,
last 5 years.
yeah, that's correct.
So that'd be like your growth.
Yeah. So,
But we also just learned that our increase for our employee benefits went up almost that much. So there went our extra right there just in increase to our price for benefits.
great. But, hey,
That's great. Is that everything?
yeah,
You wanna show them
Any
the
questions?
tax? Wow.
sorry.
The tax breakdown. Well, percentage.
Oh, sure. So with that, like so let's say we did a 50% increase from what the tax rate was last year. This does have, I had it broken out for the impact, would be, so like on a resident with, I just put in the average value based on what the county had told me. So right now, we would get $400 from that house in property taxes. If there was a 50% increase, arbitrary, right? To be sure, this is just for presentation's sake. It would be almost $600 from the house, which would mean their yearly increase was about $200, which would change their monthly payment $16. So, and then I also put in a commercial as an example as well of how much we would get from commercial.
Could you show them what Tool is at right now compared to what we're at?
They just increased theirs.
Yeah.
So based on what Twilla's rates was last year, that's 81% higher than what we're at. So that would be an extra $27 a month for people here based on our home value.
And in our documentation for next week, we're proposing a what increase?
I can't say.
Okay, not yet.
It's not on the
Next
agenda
time. Yes.
for 1,000.
Yeah, I'm thinking 1000% sounds good. Thank you, Red.
Well, you weren't for the Jeopardy. I've been referring to the Jeopardy
depends.
quiz.
It depends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
so.
depends.
It depends.
But again, this is
Took me
just
like 5 to figure that
a
out.
projection. It's just a projection because we don't know that valuation yet. So everything that she's gonna present is gonna be a speculation number
Sounds great.
until we verify it
Yeah.
into.
Like, I'm gonna be wrong for sure. So
If
if
she
I'm
is,
not, I'm going to buy a lottery ticket. I got really lucky.
Did you put 1,000%?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay. So monthly increase, $330.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean,
That's a car.
yeah.
It'll
be the end.
We've had some discussions in the past about point of sales tax. Where's that factored in?
So that's in our sales tax report that we get every month. So that's just from this in distribution from the state. So that's considered in our portion of the 1% that we get to keep for their point of sale. So I do actually get I have access, I had to sign like NDA and stuff, so, but I can get a report every month and it breaks down how much we get from our like local businesses. And we do get point of sale things for like Amazon, Target, Costco, Walmart, shopping online, things like that. Cause they do happen in the city, but.
A lot at 180 East Irving.
Yeah,
Mine also.
could I just reiterate that on the record? Walmart delivery,
Yes.
that comes to Grantsville.
So does
The sales
Costco.
tax.
Yeah,
Costco delivery.
Yep.
One, they deliver out here, and then two, we do get a little, I mean,
Moat.
a little something from it.
So we talked about we've had some pushback from the citizens on just developing commercial or trying to get businesses, and we talked about just trying to disclose or show them that value that's coming to the city.
Mhm.
I mean, is that at one point, I think Sherry put a link on the website to try and, or maybe it was just talked about, but we're gonna just try to track the benefit of businesses coming. Is that something that's worth tracking? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, we could even look back like, however, like I could pull a report from, 5, 10, 7 last year, or however far back that we wanna look, just as we've noticed like some businesses growing here. And just see how much our portion has gone up for that collection for the sales tax.
It'd just be nice to let the citizens know that there's benefits
Yeah,
for having them here, but I don't know how much work that is.
yeah, we can look for sure, cause even just doing the summary sheet I could share, and we can just put them up there as far as what we're getting like this month versus what we were getting this month 5 years ago. Just kind of give a comparison of the benefit that we've had from that commercial growth. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well done, we're excited for next Wednesday.
Oh, are we?
Work meeting, right?
Next
No?
Wednesday, no, it's a regular meeting.
It's just a long, regular meeting.
It's gonna be
Just
really
be
long.
ready. We should probably keep the mills here for next week.
Say, why didn't we make it a work meeting so we could
Are we gonna start at the same time?
7?
7.
We don't wanna start
That
at
one we
6.
have to with all the requirements with the rules. That one is kind of a set. We can't change the time or don't want to because it makes it complicated.
Hey, it depends.
Right.
That's it depends one.
All right, that concludes our training and item number 5. Our next item, agenda item number 6 is to adjourn. Do I have a motion to
I make a
adjourn?
motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Go Mammoth.
That's right.